Live from the Injured on the Go Just Call Mo studio.
It's a blast!
It's Orlando's own Tom and Dan.
Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We're live on Twitch and YouTube. Come join us. Just search for @Tom and Dan Live.
If you are a BDM, we have our big appreciation party coming up April 19th.
Yeah, man.
It's in Sandford. You should have gotten the invite if you're an active BDM.
Oh, entertainment, we got you covered. Whether it's the show aspect, whether it's the musical band that we have hired, whether it's the DJ that we've hired, we got you covered
the
for
magician
entertainment.
slash whip show.
Yeah, we got a whip show.
A little bit of
erotica.
Yeah.
Erotic. Your hands all
Please.
over my body. Remember when Madonna did that? Erotic. Hold on, it'll sound better if I do
Tons
this.
of leftover gifts to give away.
Erotic, put your hands all over my body.
I remember they had to air it after 11 p.m.
And
even though it was on
and
MTV.
guess who stayed up? Guess who stayed up till after 11 and snuck out so he could see Madonna naked? Me, baby. Me.
Kenny Samsel's here.
Hey,
How you doing,
Hey,
Kenny?
hold on. Let me give you a blast.
I sat down on the couch and whoever your last guest was, I think left a pair of sunglasses.
Yes,
here,
yes.
And there's a quarter here, and it's I
Yes.
didn't know you had a lost and found department in the
The
studio.
last guest that we had here was Michelle Obama.
That's your
Those are her
release
sunglasses.
later.
All right,
Yeah,
all
those
right.
are her sunglasses.
I'm gonna ask her about why gas prices
Yeah.
are so high.
And I'm going to
I
ask
still
her,
blame Obama.
And
for
I'm going to
everything.
ask her, now that we have a different administration, why are our kids so fat? Somebody also lost their vape pen over there. I spy a Move vape pen. Give me that.
I know who that is.
Give me that.
I know who left that.
Give me that.
It's the
This
smoke.
is my Move vape pen now. Mine.
That's
Look at me. Look
that's
at
a
me.
hefty boy.
Look at me. Look at me. This is my battery now.
There's umulats over it, so is it Muve, or you still say Move?
No, I think this was dumb Americans using the umlaut incorrectly and making it a smiley face over a U because weed makes you happy.
Yep. By the way, we're trying currently to work a deal with Move. So if,
good.
you work for Move,
Yeah.
tell them we should advertise with Tom and Dad because this is my last straw with the
Yeah.
dispensaries.
We're done. This is our last try.
I know you got money, and I know you need to
Yeah.
advertise. It's driving me crazy.
And we already thought of a whole advertising campaign. I'm like, I like to move
I
and move
was
it.
just
I like
about
to
to say
move
that.
and move it.
Whatever
They were
happened to those
smoking
guys?
weed.
Yeah,
It's
hanging out
easy.
with a bunch of fat Puerto Ricans,
Right.
big asses, big wet asses. I like to move and I will be poofing big plumes of Move vape smoke on a big wet ass, and everybody
That'll sell weed.
That'll sell so much weed, Kenny, you won't even know.
What's
and with
crazy
my
is-
cane, now that I have
no.
a cane, I'll look like a Puerto Rican pimp. I'll be poofing my Move all over an ass.
Obviously, the answer is money, but do you think when those guys made that song and they're like, this is going to be a banger at the club, we're going to get a lot of fat asses just shaking all there, and then next thing you know, 10 years later, Madagascar uses it, and it's like, it's now affiliated with Madagascar, and all these kids are
Let's
singing
not
it.
forget that let's not forget that America's most handsome monster, Brad Pitt, was in Madagascar. He's the most
You say
handsome.
he's a monster. I still like
He's a
him.
monster.
I don't know what he did.
Would you
whatever.
choke an Asian child on a plane? I don't think you
Well,
would.
if it's my child,
That's true.
it's,
That's
Homer
true.
says I grew up that way.
It's true. That's your possession.
I grew up thinking that that's what dads did to their kids.
Yeah.
They choke them, choke their neck.
Choke
'cause
'em
they're
good.
D-heads.
Yeah. What have you been up to, buddy?
I've just been chilling and maxing and relaxing as Fresh Prince. I don't know what the hell that means. What the hell does
okay. I
maxing
like
and
that.
relaxing mean?
Chilling, maxing.
Are you
relaxing.
maxing or are you relaxing? They're two different.
Well, you can
they're
do both.
opposite.
Maxing is now young men, and you're going to have to go through this. Young men are doing a lot of look maxing, where they're trying to get chiseled jaw lines. They're trying to chew gum, tighten things up. One of your guys is going to rock a broccoli at some point.
Have your
They're
kids
going to get
seen the,
earrings. They're going to be cologne crazy. Tracy's child, he's max crazy. He's all about the self-care, his nails, his cologne, looking fresh, smelling good.
Has your kid seen the videos of the dude that wakes up at 4 a.m, dunks his head in ice water, rubs banana peels on his face?
I have seen that guy.
No. What is it? It's like
It's purely, I'm sure it's a joke, but this guy's trying to show how, hey, if you want to get right, you got to wake up 3 a.m, dunk your head in some ice water, get smooth skin,
Like
rub
morning
banana peel on your
maxing
face.
is
yeah.
what they call it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
everything is maxing. Stupid. It is stupid. Look, I'm with you.
Listen, any kid that wakes up early and wants to do something, that's good.
Yeah. Except
the
shoot up the
opposite.
school. I would argue if you're getting up early to shoot up the school, don't do that.
So, Kenny, before we start the show, I mentioned about
We haven't started?
No.
We're starting and action.
All right, 3, 2,
I
1.
talked about the Weezer's bass player's wife that got into a shootout with the cops. And you also saw the story, and we were telling Daniel about this. It's bizarre.
It's really weird, especially because the headline, obviously the focal point is Weezer, but it's technically just the bass player who's always the loser of the group, and then that person's wife.
Yes,
so it's like a weird tertiary headline.
Obviously, it made the headlines because this person is
He's
famous,
part of a band,
but
but she has nothing to do with it.
no.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, if you're that's like saying our wives don't have a part of T&D Media. They are. They are. They are.
So you're saying if Andrea got arrested,
Their behavior matters,
It would
yes.
say local podnester's wife.
Yeah, I think the behavior, if you're in the entertainment and you have a crazy wife, I think that matters. Phil Hartman. I think it matters. I think it matters. I think it is a direct result. I've worked for a lot of radio hosts, and they always had some sort of crazy wife that reflected poorly on them. I'm just saying.
The media
It's a
will
thing.
mention it. But so the story I read, and I'm sure more details came out because this happened a
she's
minute
cute.
ago.
But
But
like a hot, like a alternative rock.
Yeah, she's
Suicide Girl.
Exactly.
And he's that skinny nerd. Yeah.
so this is the bizarre part is and I may be wrong about how I read the story, but they said the police were chasing a suspect, right? And the suspect was jumping fences, whatever, somewhere in California. And so then the Weezer's bass player's wife, I guess, saw this happening or heard of it on the news. I don't know exactly how she knew the suspect was running through her property, but he was. So she came out with a gun, right? And to I guess defend her property or whatever. I mean, you could have just let him run through. But so she came out with a gun.
You're right. She did come out with a gun, and then the cops are like, "Hey, put your gun down," and then she didn't because I mean, you're an American.
Yeah, well,
I'm joking. I don't
Well, it was
understand
just
why.
weird
I
that
don't
she-
understand when cops tell you and you're not involved in it to put your gun down. Why you wouldn't just put your gun down?
And then she didn't, and then it escalated to the point where the police shot her in the shoulder.
Yeah.
and the reports kept saying shootout, which implies she was shooting back at them.
Yeah.
But you can't believe anything these
Well,
days.
no, but
right?
she got arrested for attempted murder on a cop.
Yeah.
So that means that she shot back at the cop. She didn't just wasn't holding her gun and they shot her. And that's not
$1 million
attempted-
bond. That's another reason why it does matter if your wife is in the Weezer connection.
so-
$1 million bond. Who's going to be able to pay that?
Yeah.
Weezer can.
What the hell transpired where the cops came through, told her put down the gun. She came out to protect herself from or I guess to confront the guy the cops are chasing. What made her get into a shootout with the cops? And then there was a standoff involved. And then at the end, they were showing her and the nanny laying on the street with with their arms behind their head, and they're arresting them. And now she's arrested for attempted murder on a cop. This
What
is
if
bizarre.
you were the original dude and you're like, oh my God, I just got away with this crime because of Weezer's bassist wife? It's
You
similar,
love Weezer.
It's similar.
You go out
Oh,
and you go out and you buy the Pinkerton album because that's my favorite album.
Well, they re-released the Blue album on vinyl
nice.
out there.
Very
But
nice.
it reminds me of you, Tom, when you were going to get pulled over for DUI on a boat, and the only reason you got saved was that another person was speeding
I
by.
love that.
I was there.
Like,
I was there.
imagine that dude. He probably robbed a bank or something. Is running away from the cops. And goes, "Oh, thank God for this lady."
So
Getting
they're
in a
not
shootout.
saying whether or not she fired it. They ordered her several times to drop the gun, but she refused. She pointed it at them, police allege. They did not say whether or not she fired the gun, but said she was hit by police gunfire and fled into her home, where they took her into custody and then took her to the hospital.
What? That is bizarre behavior.
It is.
Okay, so I go get my rusty revolver.
They
because
only got one of the suspects. Everybody else got away.
I hear the police chase. I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh,
You've done this. You've heard police outside. You go and you get your gun, and then you go to the window. You've done this. You were in Deltona. Tell me what you did. Walk me through it.
No, that was a neighbor trying to kill his wife.
Okay, that's fine.
Totally different.
And I was standing at a guard at my door
That's
thinking
called a
that
Deltona Thursday.
he may try to kill me. And then I opened the door. I'm like, Bob, everything okay? And then he's like, everything's fine, Tom.
Yep, she's okay.
And I'm like, all right, I just don't want to hear you kill your wife.
Okay, I'll do it quiet.
The only thing I can
I'll
think
use
of,
a pillow.
it won't matter in this because if obviously they're chasing him, they're probably in their cars and in uniform. But we have heard it happened at a UCF game like 20 years ago where there was an undercover cop, and then the police don't realize he's undercover, thinks it's someone with a gun. So is this a situation where she's being told put your gun down, but it's by like non-uniformed officers, so she thinks it's regular people with guns yelling at her?
That seems explainable.
Well, here's what I do
what's
know.
in the
It's
story
certainly
now?
not too many guns. We know that.
Well, the story doesn't make any sense, which tells me we're missing something here.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that a person like Weezer's bass player's wife just all of a sudden
She's a mom. She has 2 kids. She's also an author. She's written a couple of books.
What's her name? Because saying Weezer's bass player's wife is just way
her
too...
name is Jillian Lauren.
Jillian.
Okay. So
Jillian.
that she saw that it was a uniformed police. And then they were like, hey, put your gun down. And then she was like, no. And it got
I like the way you said that. That's exactly how I think she said it.
But it got to the point where they're now shooting her. Like, that's bizarre,
Well,
right?
also, normal people, like if you're being ordered to put a gun down by a cop, either in plain clothes or in uniform, they don't just say, hey, you, put your gun down. They say, ma'am, put your gun down. Police. They identify. Everybody knows they're supposed to identify them. If there is protocol there, I think she's dumb. That's what I'm guessing she's dumb.
Is there a scenario?
Dumb enough to
yes.
let the cops start shooting
people
you?
now, like people now with freedom and everything, they're all freaked out. They think something's happening. They got to get their gun and run out there and be free.
Is there a scenario where she's potentially on something? Like she was doing...
She's a rock star for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like she was on mushrooms. She's, or...
Like tweaking out?
Or something where it's
I don't think that's the case, though. I think she's a mom. I think she's an author. I think she's got her S together.
Then that's how she's not that dumb. You know what I'm saying?
No, but people, there's this thing where people do these weird irrational things. Like now, it feels like people I'm in control of my own destiny. I'm like, look, I don't know. It's weird. Like, why not just stay in your house and just wait until they've apprehended all people?
You're allowed to, if someone's running through your property, go out with a gun.
But it's not about what you're allowed. It's about common sense and using your brain.
Yeah.
Why would you run outside with a gun when the cops are out? You wouldn't do that. Nobody in this room, if we were notified via text message, hey, there's a guy that has a gun in your neighborhood. I've had this happen in Baldwin. They'll say, like, keep your...
But what I'm saying is you're allowed to. It's not against the law.
But that's the problem, is that people now that's you're saying exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People feel this weird thing where they're like, I don't trust anybody, so I'm going to go out there and take care of it because...
Now, obviously,
I think that's weird.
We know that there are cops out there that just aren't good at their jobs, but for the most part, we've at least been seen and taught in all the other videos and stuff where it's like shooting is like the last thing that the police want to do. So they'll yell.
Well, they all have body cams and stuff.
Well,
so it's like
this
is definitely being recorded. So there's like exactly what happened is going to be on video, and some of these cops' body cams, like when they're under pursuit, they for sure turned them on. It's not, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, what the hell transpired?
The only other possibility I can think of is it's one of those scenarios where who shot first, and maybe like the person that's running through the backyard shot elsewhere. The police thought it's this lady shooting, and that's
they
why
saw
they're
her with a gun,
Yeah.
and they shot her. It was like a mistake, but that
No.
kind of like when the dude heard the acorns falling on the car and did the double barrel roll and started firing.
That was a scary video
No,
because the guy,
it
like, you could
was.
hear the terror in that man's voice.
Yeah,
you know?
but similarly to that, what if it is a standoff? They're like, put your gun down. They hear something that they think is her firing, and that's what causes them.
Well, there's only one question we need to answer, right? Why didn't you put your gun down? What was the reason why you didn't put your gun down?
Well, so that the fact that they released the charges already tells me that it wasn't just a terrible mistake, because they made a point to say she is being charged with attempted murder on a police officer.
$1 million.
So it's like, so they must have pretty good evidence that she committed that crime, the attempted murder on a cop. It wasn't just like, the suspect was shooting. She thought was mistaken. Like that kind of thing. Usually gets they wait before they're like, okay, should we charge her with this? That's a pretty hefty. I mean, that you'll spend your life in prison.
We could,
like at her age, she's a 40-year-old lady. Like you could spend 30 years for attempted murder on a police officer, right?
Yeah.
Or,
I wonder.
20.
And you never get to hear Surf Wax USA ever again.
I wonder
Ever
if her
again.
defense was, they wanted to destroy my sweater.
Oh, we were both going there.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. We too much seriousness. I got to start thinking of something to talk.
Yeah. And in
Talk
this
about.
case, the homies were the police officers.
Yeah,
Dissing
I like that. That's
my
good.
girl.
Dissing
That was good.
my girl.
That was good.
Even though that's the singer. What's his
I
face?
like that.
Stupid.
Ooh-wee-oo.
His name is Rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuomo.
It's a pretty funky name, especially when, you're 20-something-year-old in the 90s, meaning in the 70s, your parents named you Rivers.
Yeah.
It is weird.
It is weird.
A stupid name.
Yeah, it's a dumb name. Why couldn't it have been you that got shot? No, I'm kidding.
He went to Harvard.
And then the second story I want to talk to you about, Kenny, Daniel brought this up, is the announcer for the Magic.
Paul Porter.
Magic fans, stand at cheer. With that guy?
Yeah.
He's
so
the best.
he's
He
what they
is
call
best.
the PA announcer, public address announcer.
And he is the sweetest little white ponytail. I'm going for it. I'm going to make a ponytail. I'm going to do a Paul Porter ponytail.
And he's got a Colonel Sanders goatee, too. And he's been
I'm
rocking that
going for
years.
the young Paul Porter look.
A lot of people don't know this. He actually lives in Tampa, and he's the voice of the Lightning as well.
And one other team.
So, okay, it's the Bucks, but the press box.
Yes.
So basically, because the NFL is so large, you have like almost 100 people in the press box. They need to know what's going on in the game because not everyone, people are writing articles and stuff. So he's actually doing play-by-play for the press box. So that's his other gig that he has, which is a very unique job right there.
Yeah.
So Daniel, he was like, why would the Magic force him out and force him into retirement or fire this guy? Like, he's beloved by Magic fans.
Well, I don't think they want to use the term fire. They're being very selective in their verbiage and what they say. But I think for all intents and purposes that we can look at this and say that he is being forced out, and it appears that he's being fired because from his own admission.
Yeah, it was really weird. So the Magic set out a press release basically saying, hey, we're going to honor him. It's his final season, So everyone thinking he's retired. I mean, he's been there for 36 years, you know what I mean? And he's an older gentleman, and he lives in Tampa, so he's driving back and forth all the time. And then when that came out, then Paul Porter put on his social media and goes, hey, just for the record, they're letting me go. And so that, it's just confusing for everyone why that would happen.
I did a little bit of this, when I left the radio station. People were like, we don't know what happened. Nobody knows. And it's like, you can now go on social media and be like, hi, Paul Porter here. Just so you know, they decided to not renew my contract.
So I have a theory, and I think this is a direct result to the Michael Buffer effect. And I'll explain. So Michael Buffer announced, boxing matches for years to the point where, let's get ready to rumble had to be heard before every boxing match, right? And
trademark.
And
still kind of expected.
The audience loved it so much that they almost forced the hand of boxing promoters to always hire this guy because everybody's like, I'm sure they tried the not let's get ready to rumble on other people and they're like, not as good. So then like, damn it. So to the point where they were paying Michael Buffer, or like he made $100 million. Some absurd, I've been yelling about this for 10 years. And
maybe longer.
So I feel like the whole sports industry told themselves, like, don't let any announcer become too beloved, or one day they're going to demand so much money for just announcing players' names, and I don't want to pay anybody hundreds or maybe even millions of dollars to just announce players' names. So once they start to become beloved, get them the hell out of here. Put in new blood. Because that's how businessman Tom Van would think.
Yeah,
I'm not paying someone just to read
unfortunately,
names.
that's the reason the NBA is, I would imagine, in decline. When you've got owners that think that way. It's like when your product is taking a dip, but you still want to overcharge me for the tickets, you can eat my little acorn. Not going to happen.
You'll still watch.
I know people
on TV, but I'm not going to go to the games. I mean, it does make me not want to go to the games. I had the choice of buying play-in tickets because we're the 7th seed?
seed. We've locked the 7 seed last night.
We locked the 7 seed in last night. I was watching the game.
You're not going to go because the announcer reading the names?
It hurt my feelings. Yeah, I'm a sensitive guy. Paul Porter is beloved, dude.
I know a
love
lot
that
of
dude.
people don't
They waited
really
too
pay
long.
attention.
Then they should have fired him a year ago.
Oh, you're such a vile
Or you can get
individual.
any radio
Well,
guy to
Yeah,
do that.
you can.
I'll
But there
get docked.
You can't do it.
No, there is a difference.
I can't read. Not me, but I'll get 10 other radio guys to do it cheap.
There is a difference, though, between good and bad ones. Because, like, the Lakers, as prestigious as they are, their PA announcer sounds like he's bored.
He's terrible. You hear him. He's in the game. He's in NBA 2K.
Yeah.
They used Paul Porter in the game.
Yeah.
They used all the real announcers in the game. So I guess the last time, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just hold on to my NBA 2K, and I've got him forever.
Nice.
But like, they used the Lakers guy, and man, we are so blessed
we
to
are.
have him. When you go around to other places and hear them, the Atlanta Braves are very blessed. We got the dude from Madden, Brandon Godden.
Yeah.
For a while, we had Chip Carey. He was amazing. When we lost Chip Carey, I was like, well, what am I gonna do?
It's so weird because you want to hype up, like, even during
hard job.
during the Kobe days when they were winning championships, their PA announcer would be like, "And now welcome your 5-time NBA champion Lakers." And
Yeah,
that's
he's
how they would
real.
pump
That's
up
a
the
really good
That's how he would
impression.
pump up the crowd. Like, what the hell?
No, he's stiff. He's kind of like when they brought in the new announcer for Orlando City. I don't think he's there anymore, but they brought in the Latin guy. And we used to have a guy that kind of did the announcing, and it was good. But the Latin guy, man, he put a lot of flavor on it, and it was just better.
Yeah. There's a lot of Latins around here. You gotta push them to the game.
That was a bad example for business, Tom.
Yeah, whatever. And then as soon as he starts to get people fired, bring in another Latin guy. There's
was-
a lot of them here.
It was peak.
And they're all loud. It's good. And they're good.
Yeah. I can get 10 from Roomba.
It was peak prank show, early 2000s, but Tom Green did a thing where he was a PA announcer for like a minor league baseball game, and he would intentionally be like, "And now, Tom Van," and like keep going to a point where the pitcher couldn't pitch the ball because like he's continuing to do his
like
like
that.
his gimmick and be like, like just
The
doing random
original
noises.
trolling. The original trolling.
And it got to a point where the umpire turned around and actually ejected Tom Green out of the game because he was messing around on the PA mic too much.
Tom Green,
Yeah.
you rascal. No Tom Green, no Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it's I know. Did anybody watch that Tom Green documentary yet? Everybody said, "Oh, you got to watch it," and then I never did. But I saw
I do that with everything now. I put this on the BDM page. Everybody's like, you got to watch Severance. I swore to you I'd start the first season. Then there's gemstones I got to catch up with. Yesterday, I just watched how people made breakfast in the 1820s. And I put it on the BDM page. It was an old lady. She made some currant raisin bread on the fire and toasted her own coffee beans. And it was a 10-minute ASMR video that I watched, and that's what I watched.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We got Paul Williams and Dom coming in right after this. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. We've got the Sandford 2 here, Paul and Dom. How you guys doing?
Great.
Didn't know where my siren was. That's working really, really well now, my siren.
That's it. So I'm pointing. You
limited
put new
edition.
batteries in there?
Well, it had a short in it, and I figured like anything, you start whacking it
Yep.
against it'll start working. You whack it on the floor a couple times, but good to see you guys.
Yeah, y'all too.
So, a very popular Sandford event is happening this weekend, and how many years have the Mini Masters been going on?
You know,
because I kind of remember when
It's
you
on the
started
thing
it.
I don't think
somewhere.
it's on the thing.
I
That's
think it's on the thing.
I think
like
it's
a
like
good-
7 years in, maybe.
Okay. So the Sandford Mini Masters, give everybody an explanation of what it is.
Yeah,
And
because
I'll-
I had a guy reach out to me this morning on Reddit. He said, Sanford Mini Masters, any of you degenerates going? It's my
Seventh
buddy's birthday. We're going out in full force, aiming to win this event. I have never been before. What should we expect? What should I dress as? Should I dress for golf? Minus the spike shoes, of course.
Absolutely, there's a best dress contest. Get in your best Masters golf gear
Okay.
to try and win that. There's a nice little basket to win that. I will say this: it's 18 bars and restaurants that each have a mini golf hole. It does take a long time to get around town. It's walkable, but I'm telling you, it starts at 11 and it ends at 7. I don't think it takes 8 hours to get around, but sometimes the lines get long. The one thing that we've done differently this year, our charity for this is the Sandford Historical Society.
Nice.
Each bar or restaurant paid $100 to that charity to be part of this. They provide a whole monitor. They watch you putt and they mark your score for you so you can't cheat.
I was that in college.
what?
Whole monitor.
Hey,
That's what she said.
Tom, because he liked the Asians, they called him the Orient Express. Yeah. Or was it Panda Express? Did I get that wrong? Was it Orient Express or Panda Express? This guy, he likes them sideways. Hey!
Stop it.
So,
I like it blurred.
I like it blurred and jet black.
a lot of these holes will
Get
have.
a little blurry. You don't need to see everything and how it works.
I don't need to see that.
Yeah, I just need to
You
know
don't
how
need
it
to.
feels.
You don't need to know how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry, Paul. Continue.
That's okay. Each hole will have a hole monitor from the Sandford Historical Society marking your score, but some of the holes will have a Disney Fast Pass lane. So bring your $5 bills. You can drop a $5 bill in the bucket to skip the line.
Oh, I love this. And then everybody gets mad. Yeah.
And everybody gets mad, but the charity makes more money.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I'm all about skipping the line.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a whole pocket full because when I take my son around, I am not waiting in lines.
So it starts at Celery City Craft.
So you can play the holes in any order that you want,
all right.
but you pick your scorecard up at Celery City, and there's obviously a hole there. And then the 18th hole is Celery City Cigars. So the ending, closing ceremonies are all on the patio at Celery City. So there will be prizes for best performers, prizes for best dressed, and there'll also be some like raffle drawings and stuff like that.
So you just have to hit all 18 bars,
That's
and
it.
they'll keep your score. And then there's
you get your card,
right.
and then you give your card to the score, the person that's scoring. They have we have a special colored marker at each hole, so you can't like mark your own scores. And they mark your score and go about your way.
And you bring your own putter?
There are putters, but you're encouraged to bring your own and bring your own ball if you want. But there is a putter and a ball at each hole.
Okay.
Oh, so there's something there, so you don't have to.
If you don't have.
So they made it easy. If you just want to show up, you can do that.
That's it. And if you just want to show up and do a few holes, and it's up to you. It's how you want to do it.
So we could run through the bars involved too. D's Brothers. We've got Buster's Bistro.
Nice.
The Station Throwbacks. Whips. I wrote down Whips. Which one was that? I don't know.
Whips?
Whips.
What are you thinking about our event?
Wops, hops.
Wops.
Wops and whips.
Dom knew.
Yeah. Look at that.
Hey,
hold on. Have you become full Tom?
It's Wops.
Have you become like this guy speaks
Tom's
full Tom
going,
now?
but he's going to do
You've come
whippets
in-
all day.
You've come in here enough to know what my business partner says because he's too stupid to write down the right name.
I could have printed this out.
I have it as whip as well. So don't worry. Yeah.
Yardery, Wild West End, of course, the
Ew.
West End. We've got First Street
Lounge.
First Street Whips? Is it
Hollabox.
whips? Show me whips.
Deviant Wolf, the Basin, Toughies, Loggerhead, the Wet Spot, my personal favorite.
It's my favorite.
Because I
It's
remember
my favorite too. Every time I
Daniel's
hear it,
dad's joke.
yeah, every time I hear it, I'm like,
Yeah.
the flour. You roll them in the flour. Some they'll know that Freddy Krueger actually said that and laughed like that in the movie.
By the way, when I was a kid, I thought it was going to be more wet.
Me too.
Turns out it's
Me
not.
too. There's a couple of myths. Let's
mostly dry.
Let's talk about that for a second. By the way, I've never used flour in my life, and I've been with some pigs. I have.
Some pigs.
Yeah. Oh, I've been with some pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta own a farm. Sometimes you gotta.
That's
slop
right.
Gotta slop the hogs. Sometimes you own a farm. You gotta slop the hogs.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
And then the
Hold on. I need to play this. Hold on.
Play what?
I need to play this. My song.
All right.
Okay.
So then, after you play all 18 holes, the ending final ceremony is
At Celery City.
At Celery City,
Yeah.
back at Celery City at 7 p.m.
That's right.
So start at 11, and then just play all the holes, and then come back for 7
That's
at
what she
7
said.
o'clock, and then you could.
Paul's on brand now. I like it. I got him on brand. If I can throw enough jokes out there, then Paul will be like, I want to do that too. And I'm like, yes, come on over.
So let's talk 420, because we got.
That's the weed holiday, yes.
Yeah, we the seeds
Before
going
we get
on.
too far away, after Mini Masters,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
if you go in the venue, there's a little band called Gargamel playing.
Oh, holy smokes. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gargamel's playing with Audio Arma. Some bands.
Audio Armory.
Thank you.
Yeah, I read the
That one,
website.
yeah.
And
I read the website.
And I don't know how you say the other name. It's KAU.
I didn't see that one on the sign. I just saw Audio Armory and Gargamel. But
I'm
yeah,
not sure how you say
that'd
it,
be
but-
amazing. I'm
Yeah,
into that.
Gargamel show. Come cruise down. It's a cheap show. Come
Yeah.
see him.
It's amazing to me that somebody. I sounded like Jiminy Glick there.
Amazing to me that somebody like
Nobody can be doing man daddy stuff for so long.
Seriously, he's
Yeah, he is. It's amazing that he's
holding on to it.
God,
man.
how long has Gargamel been playing?
I mean, I hope that they become like the
30 years?
one of the
25
old,
years?
But I'm going for we gotta
It's
have
gotta be
50.
30.
No, well, I think it has been 30, but I want 50 years of Gargamel, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like they have to be that. They have pissed off more metal
Put
bands.
on your pajama pants and cruise on down.
Hell yeah,
You know what I
man!
mean?
Like, and they put on a. They still put on a huge show.
They
It's,
do.
Love it. Dude, they're
it's
great.
such a huge show. My wife and I, without even knowing that we were going to end up as husband and wife, would go to Gargamel shows, and we have pictures of us watching Gargamel without knowing each other. That's how long Gargamel's
Yeah,
been
that's,
playing in Orlando.
Yeah,
Awesome.
they were a band when we were kids.
Yeah,
To
but
start going.
They're
to
an
see bands.
amazing.
You
band.
watch you watch if you watch music, especially music that's not super mainstream, and you see a band that goes on for years and years and years, you say those guys have more talent than like most of the guys you hear on the radio.
Yeah.
It's like how
Easily.
how does this happen, you know?
Matter
Well,
of
it's
fact,
just
I
'cause
would
it's
like.
not for everybody, right?
I know it's
Because
not.
I
they'll-
would challenge anyone to go to that show and not tell me that they had a good time.
Correct.
Yeah, it is a very, very, very good show.
Yeah, they're just a wild. Well, you guys are like that too. And we have a lot of
Yeah.
our buddies that just like. I got a guy that I shared. You guys are going to be on tour very, very soon.
Oh man, we're gonna be on
I'll
tour.
slide that in there too. And
boy.
I had a bunch of BDMs that are out of staters that were looking at your dates and cherry picking when they're going to go see the supervillains. So
that's
I don't
fun.
know. That's very, very. That's
we're
a
gonna
cool
be
little West End
everywhere this
connection
summer.
Yeah.
that we get to have. But yeah,
I'm gonna go on the road this summer with Dom and sell merch.
Are you ready? No, I didn't think so. It's like children, marriage.
You gonna bring
It's
your
gonna
own
forfeit
bus
my
or-
whole life.
Does sound fun though, right?
It'll be fun for a few weeks, I'm sure, but after, man, the whole summer is gonna be brutal, man.
Yeah,
It's-
geez.
yeah.
How many dates are you guys doing?
that's a-
So basically, for the 3 months of summer, we're gonna be gone for 2 of them. You know what I mean? So, well, you know what I mean. It's 4 months of summer, but
Yeah.
in 3 months, we're gonna be basically be gone 2 months, and we're doing
Nice.
East Coast, West Coast, somewhere in the center, all over the center.
Do you have a favorite place to play?
Yeah, my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
okay,
to
I
play at
like
my
that.
house.
Yeah, it's like Paul.
I like to play at
yeah.
West End and then
Just wanna
drive
stay
home.
home.
That's it.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Bed by 9.
Dude, there's a lot of great places, though. There's a lot of great places in Texas, a lot of great places, of course, in Colorado, California. We're going all over the state of California. So
Nice.
We're going to be all the way up in the East Coast. We're going to Boston. We're going to be all the way up in New Hampshire.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Vermont. We're going to be in Vermont. I mean, like, it's out of control.
There
You guys-
are
Did
white-
you guys get an electric RV?
We did not.
How are you going to be able to go around California without that?
We're gonna have we're gonna have an RV from the Giant Recreational.
They don't even have gas stations out there anymore, man.
They all burned down.
Sure.
They all burned down. And the other ones are just clothing stores for trans people. I don't know. That just sounded like something people complaining would scream, right? They always complaining about everything. God
Yeah.
damn it. Just stop complaining.
So this Saturday, Sandford Mini Masters show up at Cellar City Craft.
Yeah.
Get your card and then hit all the 18 bars.
Yeah.
And it is, bring your putter if you want, and then show up for the after party if you believe. I mean, what's the usual? How many putts I need?
If you believe in God.
So
no, but well,
we've asked.
just like normal golf tournaments, I know that halfway through you're like, we have no chance of winning.
What? No, not everybody's like you. Not everybody looks at their scorecard halfway through and is like, you know what?
Like, we're not.
I'm going home.
No, you finish it, but you're like, I'm not showing up to the ending ceremonies because there's no chance we're gonna win because we're so horrible and we're drunk. Sorry.
Okay. How do you handle that,
We've
Paul?
asked. A few less beers, but we've asked all the holes to be built that can be reasonably executed in 3 shots. So
Okay,
it's
but par
all
three?
par 3s.
Okay.
And 4 is your max score to speed up the line. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
there'll be guys out there with an 11, and it's just like, you're not made for this.
It's
It's
just
like
kick
children.
their ball out.
You ever I'm sure you have because you golf. You've
Sure.
taken your boy.
Absolutely.
You take it, put him on the.
My son has no quit.
Yeah, they'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And then they eventually do that move, and nobody ever tells them to stop, where they just drag their golf club and then just drag the ball into the cup. And I'm like, you can't do that. You're not. But nobody says you're not allowed to do that. I've never seen one parent.
My
say you're
son will
allowed
not do those things. He's
a golfer.
Not just golf. if he sees someone playing outside the rules of the sport, he is visibly upset about
love
it.
that. I
Like
love that.
he gets pissed. Like
We need that. We
at
need more
school,
of that.
he'll come and tell me we were playing basketball and this person was like,
Yeah.
dude, it's
My
not,
daughter
this
says
is not
that.
a sanctioned basketball game. You're
Yeah.
playing street ball, so
I'll
just
throw
calm
it out
down.
there.
you
I'll
know?
use a real name. Brandon cheated at Foursquare, Maisie told me.
Yeah.
I'll say it. Cheated at Foursquare. Because you're not
Saying
supposed to
it's
undercut the ball.
Yeah,
you're
you're
not
not.
supposed to undercut.
Everyone
supposed
knows
to be
that.
a flat hand. Not supposed to be a spin cut. Everyone.
What was that golf event recently that the golfers' kids were playing in? I saw it on TikTok.
You talking about the thing I played in December, the PNC Championship?
Was it the PNC?
Yeah,
Championship?
it's so on Thursday and Friday there's a pro-am round and you play with a pro golfer and their kid. I played with Matt Kuchar.
But these were like little kids I saw, and they were,
Oh, that's yesterday was the Masters Par 3 competition, and
Okay.
they always have the golfers bring their kids out to either caddy for them or sometimes they'll play. It's
Okay.
very relaxed
I
situation.
saw this viral.
We're missing the Masters right now, by the way.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. We're hurry it up.
I saw a viral video of like some golfer's daughter, and she hit like like a 30-foot putt.
Yeah.
and like she tapped
drained
it.
it.
She tapped it, and then it basically rolled in. It's like they followed
she
the
knew
line.
how to read the green.
No, well, it's funny because then the dad and the caddy were going crazy, and then she just started crying because she got
Yeah.
freaked out because she
wow.
was so small. She was like 3 years old.
Too much emotion.
But and
Dry your eyes, little girl.
You just did the best thing in the world.
it did ruin the moment. Like,
Yeah.
when your daughter starts crying, you're like, oh God, this is supposed to be us freaking
Yeah,
out.
don't cry.
happy.
You know what I like better? I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's set in feudal Japan. And the main character is a girl. She's your daughter.
Yeah.
And when she kills that samurai in the river and his blood goes everywhere, she doesn't cry. I'll tell you what, she doesn't cry at all. And the
Pride
blood's,
only.
And the blood's on her own face, and her dad says, "This is your life now." And I'm like, yeah, that's how you grow up.
Yep, that'll get you old
Yeah,
quick.
that'll take you to the top.
Paul, Dom, thanks so much
Good
for
to see
coming
you
in. I
guys.
Yeah.
appreciate it. And for everything else, drink at westend.com.
Yeah, the events tab is there. You can see everything and make your plans.
Yeah,
for what you
419.
want.
Come to the show for that one too.
Yeah,
The,
yeah. Head over there.
Our 420 show. We have.
Yeah.
It's on 419 this year because 420 is Easter. So cruise down. We got a bunch of reggae bands. We're gonna unveil the Travis Seeds art on the stage.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to make a Jesus AI photo of him smoking weed because nobody will do that. Right? Like, that'll not.
You think AI will pull that one off?
I think it will. All
right.
I was trying to make a Hitachi. You know what a Hitachi is? A big massager.
Okay, yeah.
I was trying to
It was a
make
camera when I was a kid.
I was trying to make a Hitachi magic wand sipping a cup of kava tea, and it would not do that.
No, really.
And you know how it told me that? It was like, I can't do that. That's how it said it. AI.
Wow.
It was like, I can't do that, Dan. I'm like, do I?
You need to go watch iRobot one more time, man.
You'll get a bunch of hate mail, man. Every time you make fun of Jesus, they don't like that.
Yeah, they don't. They don't like it.
Take it from me.
Yeah.
Take it
yeah,
from me.
I just make fun of the things I don't believe in.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Which is everything.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
All right, we will see you on Monday. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. We've got Joe and Matt in here from Modern Plumbing Industries.
Sorry, that's protocol. Got to do the siren. I apologize. I know it's corny. I know that people hate it, but we got to do it.
How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
So, of course, Modern Plumbing is, big sponsor of ours. They've been with us for a while. Use just mention Tom and Dan for 10% off. I've got a question for you guys. So, as my kids got older,
They're not even really kids anymore. I refer to them as young men,
no,
right?
if that fisherman called himself a kid, I'm calling my son.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah, until they're
Kid
22. Until they're 22.
Yeah, I mean,
You got to use the Captain Brock logic.
9 and 10.
Sure.
But so I had it good for a while where I was having them shower together, right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people thought they were too
Yeah.
old to shower
They call
together.
that I ate ribs with this dude. It's like when you have captives, you make them shower together so you don't tip off the government because you're using too much water.
And when Sam was here, she used to be like, "Oh, your sons still shower together?" Back when they were like
they're
8,
17
9.
years old. You
No.
know?
And they showered together up until like 9 and 10. They just now recently in the past 6 months stopped. But I always say, like, when they were like, "This is weird," I'd be like,
Well, you guys run your things a little more nudist colony,
well,
right?
LeBron James showers with other men. The best Tom Brady did it. You said too good.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if he had his choice, he wouldn't.
Yeah, but he did do it.
No, but that's not the thing. It's if you have your choice. No one chooses to shower with men. LeBron James does it because it's his job. He doesn't go, you know what I would elevate my showering with my brother. No one has ever said that.
Well, they can leave
maybe
after
White
the
Lotus,
game.
maybe White Lotus.
They
right?
can go.
Hey!
They can shower at their house after the game, but they choose to shower with other men. I'm just saying they have a choice.
There's
They
flawed logic here.
can
He'll
put
keep
the-
arguing the point that's wrong, but they know. I can look at their eyes.
They put their suit back on, sweaty, whatever. And they don't have to shower with the men.
If the owner of the Lakers said we're building LeBron his own shower, he'd be like, "Yes, you are." He wouldn't say, "No need. I'll just go back to it with the guys."
they have billions of
But
dollars.
they're not going to do it.
They
You're
all-
wrong. You're wrong on this. But continue.
They
Yes.
choose to shower together. Anyway.
It's not a better shower.
So then they stopped, and now they shower separately, right? And so, and I have to yell at them every time, like, "Get the shower." They're like, "Can we skip a shower tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, fine." And then I'm like, "No, you skipped it the last night, the night before.
Oh,
you
man,
stink."
you let them skip showers?
Yeah. Well, I do, dude.
What are you doing over there?
You don't really need a shower.
Are you running a mud village over there? Like, what are you doing?
If you don't, get sweaty, what the hell?
They're
you need a
going
shower
to school.
For?
They're not getting sweaty running around at school?
No, they don't run. Dude, I don't know what they do. Apparently, and also my son has written multiple essays. By the way, like that. I asked.
Tom told me his son has never written one essay. I was like, my daughter writes an essay like a week.
They just never did it at home. So then I asked Tommy. I was like, "Have you ever written an essay?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I wrote 4 this week." And I'm like, 4?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Welcome back to Two Dads Confess to Plumbers.
I had no idea what they do in school.
Just taking it in.
Back to plumbing, guys. Okay, so then the boys.
I know
they
what
take
this
their
is
shower.
leading up to. How long are your boys taking showers?
Oh yeah, it's gonna get longer soon. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
both are.
Banging on the door. It's like, I know what's happening. I was a boy. I still am doing it. Oh, I shouldn't tell him
Oh,
that.
no, he was like, I am a boy. I still am a boy. I like boys.
Anyway, then my wife takes a shower. Then I get in the shower and I turn on and
you need to get to the shower because you run. What do you run, like 19 miles a day or something?
And so, I'm the only one in the family that's sweating.
Yeah.
And then I get in the shower, and then I have no hot water. They just drained it dry of hot water. It's just a little bit warm, lukewarm.
Yeah.
So let me talk to you about tankless water heaters. So how good are they? What do we got here? They are better than my old school heat up a bunch of water
Isn't
in
it
a
just
tube.
a box and then it just like
Instant heat.
Yeah. What is an instant water heater?
So, loaded question, right? Tankless, you have gas, you got electric. Electric, I don't find to be the best version for big families. You're pulling way more power than you need to. It typically fizzles out as you get to larger homes, larger families. It can't keep up with demand. If you have gas or an ability to get gas in your house, all day long.
I got gas.
Now
I got a
now
big
what
old
if-
mega
now-
tank.
Now, what about if it's just not a big family, but it's just a horribly wasteful family?
I mean, there's a ton of options tank-wise nowadays to get you for, most houses that you see, new builds, they aren't built to accommodate big families. But you buy a house that has 4 bathrooms and you got a bunch of daughters and a bunch of kids and you got a 50-gallon water heater.
Like, how long are we? How much? So he does have a big gas tank. He's like a big. It came from an old Holiday Inn on I Drive.
My mom goes out there, smokes by it.
Yeah.
Or one day I'll be here.
Well, we took the sign off that says no smoking because, and it also had the blue rhino sticker on it. I was like, we got to take that off. It looks bad out here. Like a word to the wise. It looks very, very low rent.
Yeah, so I get the gas. But then someone told me, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get the gas. And they're like, oh, you need some sort of of vent, and I'm like, vent.
Yeah.
I'm like, just
We don't have
blow it
time
into
for-
my garage.
Yeah, we don't have time for vents.
Yeah. I'll open the door every once in a while. You know,
Poof it out.
So I got to put some sort of vent in there.
You relocate, right? Most of the time, it's very easy to relocate water. So when you want to switch over to a conversion like that, in your case, we just move everything outside.
Okay.
And then people like it. You get more space in the garage. It's less stuff to look at. It's an eyesore that you don't have to see. It's on the side yard, hidden behind something. So,
All right.
yeah.
So, and then I get hot water no matter what,
No
as long
matter
as I
what.
got the gas.
Yes.
All right.
But if you run out of gas, you got nothing.
Exactly.
So if you
So
let
if
your
you're smoking behind your gas tank, I mean,
or if you're like running your hot tub for, I don't know, heating it for, a whole weekend and you're just burning gas like a madman.
Yeah.
Well, that happened a lot. And then the technology caught up where now there's some Wi-Fi transmitter with the gas company.
Oh, yeah,
knows
you
when it's
updated
low.
it right now.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
you? Didn't you
It-
update your system?
I love the fact that a lot of things now are, you don't have to keep track of
Yeah.
like how low they are or whatever.
Dumb
You know?
people love that.
Yeah.
Dumb people love the
It's-
stuff that takes care of themselves.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where it just my house just lets the companies know when things are low.
Yeah.
And then the guy just don't even know.
Yeah, it's like our printer. It'll just order ink and it'll just show up. I'm like, I didn't order this.
So, and the second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is
I didn't even know about this. You mentioned this to me, and I'm like, well, I definitely need this.
So as
I also need a Japanese toilet. Can you guys
Okay,
get
this-
jet black?
jet black.
I want the jet black Japanese toilet. I don't want the white toilet.
yeah, we're kind of high end toilets we got
Yeah.
here nowadays.
Nowadays, I mean, you have ones like Kohler. I mean, it does pretty much anything you could think of. It's ridiculous what they put in these.
What's the most expensive toilet that I
So
can buy?
we just put a toilet in for a customer that our cost was $6,500.
Let's buy that. I want to buy that
So-
toilet. I want a $7,000 toilet.
So this toilet,
What does it do?
It does it right. It's built-in bidet. It cleans itself. It heats your feet when you're sitting down.
I need that.
It has a night light that senses you when you come in the bathroom, so you don't have to turn the
My
lights
wife bought me
on.
one of those that just kind of hangs over the toilet,
Oh, that's a
but I
cheapo.
pee all over it. It's really gross. Oh, it's disgusting.
It's got music, and I've
Music?
never sat on the toilet and said I need to listen to some tunes.
I
right?
do all
But
the time.
to
It's
each
the
his
first
own.
thing I do.
So-
You don't pick a playlist? Oh my god, get out of here. He doesn't pick a pooping playlist.
$6,500
Yeah.
toilet. That's awesome.
One of the first songs I like to just yesterday I was listening to Hoobastank while I was going number 2.
So this is what it never dawned on me, but now once I did some research, I knew you guys were coming in. I was like, "What's new in plumbing?" Which
Did you say that to ChatGPT? What's new in plumbing?
Yeah, and it told me a whole list.
A lot of the people in the chat room have the heated seat, and they're giving it mad love. They're like, I didn't know I needed that.
Listen, you go bidet. You can't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
Right? That's
You guys have bidets? Are you guys bidet boys?
I'm gonna keep that off the
Okay,
podcast.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Hey, you don't wanna talk
You
about
don't want
it.
to talk about that kind of.
Yeah.
That's like releasing
Even-
your social security number.
Even these high-end toilets, right? It heats up the water for you, so you're not getting blasted with a bidet with ice cold water.
I want hot
which,
water
you know,
in there so I make a stew. I want to be able to crap right into boiling water.
steaming in there. I want it boiling hot.
Yeah, I do. I want to crap into a boiling pot.
Yeah.
until it splashes back up.
That's true. I didn't think about that. That's why these guys are the pros.
It dawned on me when I saw this. I was like, oh yeah, this has been the same for years and it's never changed. They have smart shower heads now, and I was like, oh wow, like
Yeah, it's got Hulu built in.
like it's voice activated, and so you can
Play Severance.
you can tell
Alexa, play Severance on Showerhead.
how does that work? Is the water just always on and then it stops or is it built into the actual knobs?
So it's pretty much a digital, right? It's almost, there's so much they've done with technology. You can operate your entire bathroom off a phone. They make, they'll make selections where you can turn your lights on, turn on the lights around the mirrors, the makeup area, turn your steam on, your shower on, set the temperature. You do all these things just off your phone now.
So, or you could tell Alexa to
Yeah.
Alexa, turn shower on, and it'll just turn it on.
So you
That-
can sync
that's pretty
everything
cool.
in your house to Alexa now. And yeah, I've seen customers where they can turn everything on in their bathroom off Alexa, everything off their phone. operate their entire house off of Alexa.
Okay, now this is where I don't make jokes. I mean, I'm healing from this stupid, hip replacement, and I can imagine, like, this is the closest I've come to being handicapped or impaired,
Yeah.
And I can imagine if you did have a handicap, having all of your faucets being these be badass to have voice activated shower. You just walk in there, you can't reach anything, but you can tell it to set the temperature of what you like. That's awesome. Like, that would be incredible. What's one of those run?
So I think it
Or
depends.
range,
I mean,
I guess.
they do make some pretty affordable options. Like Moen makes a very affordable option for
Nice.
people that are more in like to the technology and kind of want that digital frame.
Yeah.
I think the Moen one runs for under $1,000.
Oh, that's
which
not that
is
bad.
Very affordable if you're going through the remodel.
Because every time I take a shower, I have like a long shower where my shower head is at the end, right? So because obviously when you first turn on the shower, cold water blasts out. So I have to go reach over, turn it on, and then try to outrun the water that's blasting out and run out the door.
Yeah.
And it always catches my
through a hula hoop.
catches my heels of this ice cold water. I'm like, oh! Every single day,
Yeah.
I do the same
Let me
thing. If I
challenge
just tell Alexa, turn the shower on.
Let me challenge you.
It's way better.
Let me challenge you to be tough, though. You know what I like to do? And this just makes me the sick person. I like to walk in there, and I stare right at the shower head, and I turn it on, and I let it blast me with the cold, and I stand there, and I'm like, that's all you got! Seriously. That's
that's a Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, I just let it, I just let it get me. And then I let it go all the way to boiling, and I give it a good 2 Mississippis boiling on my T words. I almost said it. I almost said the T word for boobies.
What have you like? What's the most popular trend now that you guys have seen with? Is it like the smart features?
Oh, we
or
have
the
to
new
confess
toilet?
something, because we were the guys that fell into those stupid. Remember the bowl sinks? Mm-hmm. We were the bowl sink guys.
Oh, the vessel
I still
sinks?
think that's
Is it
fancy.
vessel sink?
Yeah, vessel sink.
Yeah, Tom's still on board.
I
I'm
still
like,
think it's fancy.
I don't understand.
I
them.
see the error of our ways. I think
I'm
it looked like, I'm like, why did we put it? It looked like it looked like what that little Japanese kid makes his bao buns in. It's a tiny little bowl.
Yeah, but it's like this is what Cleopatra had.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
Cleopatra had our sink.
I'm saying, like,
I can get
So
those,
why are
yeah.
we? Why did Cleopatra sinks go to the way? Why did they fall aside?
I think it's a fad, like everything
Yeah,
else.
what's the new fad? What are you seeing in a lot of the McMansions?
What do you think? Chrome's back.
I was going to say
Right.
the flat countertop, so it
Yeah.
doesn't look like you have a bowl at all. It
Yeah.
literally just looks like a flat countertop. Water drips right onto it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hold on, what? So the sink?
The sink is built into whatever the material is for the counter is the sink. You can't even tell it's there.
so you just pour the water
So
up
pretty
on
much,
your
yeah,
counter?
and it slopes down,
and then it goes all over the floor.
goes
and you're
to
like,
the abyss
this is-
somewhere.
This
so.
is very ooh la la. This is very chic.
No, people are way into Wi-Fi technology. Everybody wants to be able to operate things off their phone. We deal with a lot of people that want to do what they call mow and flows or different shutoffs, where you can go on vacation, go out of town, something happens, it alerts you. You have a leak in your house, it shuts it off automatically.
Yeah.
So there's so many cool
Oh my
things
God.
now.
That's the
It's-
biggest fight my mom and dad ever got in. This is also not funny. We went to Virginia. We drove 690 miles to Martinsville, Virginia to see my grandparents one Christmas. And apparently, it must have been as soon as we shut the door to drive, the hose to the washer, which now, even I do this now. When we're going on, like I go to the cabin in Georgia, I walk upstairs, I turn the water, both dials of the water to my washing machine off because I'm traumatized as a child. It flooded the entire, my mom and dad's house that you've been to, Tom. That whole long house, like a foot of water the entire house. Ruined every floor in the house, like every single one. So you're saying that my dad could have had the ability in the future for it to be like something's leaking and he can hit a button and it'll just shut everything off.
He just needs to hit a button.
And then it's good to go.
Yeah.
But, by the way, that's called a Miami remodel. Like,
You should have told my dad that. Where were you?
That's called hitting the lottery in the Miami.
Yeah,
You're
this was
like,
in
yes,
the 90s.
remodel my house now.
But it was
Get the
terrible.
fans.
I remember coming home. You're coming home from Christmas vacation. It's awesome. So now there's technology to, pretty much proof you of that.
Yeah.
The stuff's pretty intense. It'll figure out the family in the house, right? It'll figure out your time of day you're using the most water. This way it doesn't shut things off on its own. It'll pick up like, oh, you're running water at 2 a.m. You've never done that before. It'll shut the water off to the house.
That's awesome.
Interesting. That's a cool thing.
You think ChatGPT's crazy, right? Look at what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, that's wild too, because like another plumbing instance. I mean, now all the stories are coming up, but my little house, our first studio over here in Audubon, I had old hardwood floors, and the floors in my bedroom started to buckle like crazy. And it turned out that I had an old irrigation pipe underneath that had just been, it was just a little pinprick leak, but it was spraying the boards and making them swell. But it was adding money to my actual water bill, and I'm guessing that this probably would have found like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to be happening. You know, like that sort of thing. Because it was, we went back and it was just like, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dollars that, you know, we were wasting. And also old hardwood floors, they'll swell back if you heat them.
No, really?
Yeah, they buckled, and then they're so well made, like not planking. Planking will not do it, but old hardwood floors, we let them dry out, and then the whole bubble went all the way down super flat.
So it'll
It's
go back.
crazy. I was like, well, that's why people say you get what you pay for. Things were better made then. You know, like I see it now.
Let's end with this.
Yeah.
The city or county water meters, the one by your sidewalk or whatever in your yard, you can't do a better job making those a little more friendly for the plumbers and for the average dads that have to turn on and off their water when they screw something up.
But there's so many of them,
because
right?
it's just it's a pile of dirt in there, bugs. Like you just make it. Why is there dirt in there? Like it just, they just.
I mean, I guess that is a good question.
You know,
does there have
clean
to
it
be
out.
dirt in there?
Every time I get in there, I'm just shoveling mud. Sometimes it's filled with water.
Yeah, sometimes it's already leaking.
It's filled with water, and then there's spiders in there. It's just like, God damn, city. What are my taxes going to? Just clean this box out. Right? You guys that deal with it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, why is it all mud and dirt and bugs?
I have one last question, and you asked me not to ask this, but I know we got to go, but last question. My wife, in the middle of the night, subconsciously uses between 4 feet and 6 feet of toilet paper for a pee-pee. Seriously, it's a I'm talking, she uses full scarves, you know, like and she is a small woman. 3 slices it. Right? Is that what would you guys say? In your humble opinion, 3 slices for your average woman. 4 if you're bigger.
Yeah.
But no more than 4.
Yeah.
Because you can fold it over.
I mean, I don't know. Personally, for me, I'm a toilet paper user, man.
Oh, so you're oh my
professional
God,
opinion. I'm going to tell you, do as I say, not as I do.
6-foot
So,
slicer.
yeah, so I'm pull it off the roll and do what you got to do kind of guy.
I can't use that much. I can tell my family.
I don't.
I'm like, it's getting caught up in the roots.
I don't know how
Yeah.
people are pulling 1 or 2 squares off. And
I
getting
go
their
in there to
business
sit
handled.
down to do my
So,
business, and I'm sitting on paper. I'm like, well, why shouldn't be that high?
It's like a mummy walking down a spooky trail. That's what's flushing my toilet is. It's just all roots
That's a
in there.
perfect analogy. Never been better said.
All branches in there in my pipes because my GD live oaks are getting in
And
them.
every morning I get up, I got IBS, I got to go to the bathroom. I look down, there's like 2 phone books in there. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, we got to get out of here. Guys, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
in.
Joe,
thank
Matt,
you.
thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Again, if you call Modern Plumbing, the website's modernpi.com. Tell them you heard about Tom and Dan discount. You'll get a 10% off discount in your service.
Commercial, residential,
Yeah.
industrial plumbing, all the counties. You've heard us say it before. And they're great folks. We love these guys.
This is our 50th year in business. We are officially employee owned this year too.
Whoa.
That is awesome. I mean,
That's dope.
50 years and a family-owned company.
Congratulations.
We
y'all.
were family owned. We are employee owned now. So,
Okay, all right,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
So everybody gets a little piece like the Packers.
That's it.
Right? I like that. That's like skin in the game is the way we kind of do our
That's
show
it.
too.
Skin in
yeah.
the game,
I
so.
like that, man. That's cool.
Yeah. And then somewhere the Aaron Rodgers plumbing is like, oh.
Too much ayahuasca.
All right, we will see you tomorrow. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll write that down. Modern Plumbing Industries, 10% off all services. If you mention Tom and Dan, you can go to modernpi.com.
Well, they handle Seminole, Orange Lake, Volusia, Osceola. They do residential, commercial, industrial, anything that you need plumbing. And if you want it done right, get a hold of our buddies.
And you can trust them. They've been serving Central Florida since 1975. It's modernpi.com. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Kenny Samsel's here. How you doing, Kenny?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, so I got on the couch. I found these sunglasses from people before.
Yeah.
See, people aren't going to get that because
Those
they're
are
going to listen.
Michelle Obama sunglasses.
They're not going to understand.
Quit telling people how we do it. Just let them think it's live radio.
There are a lot of people that think that this is live radio.
So, that's what you say. I'm saying everything a little different. Did you know that it was kratom, not kratom?
Yeah.
It's
Have you ever
radio
done
now.
kratom?
No.
We
I
got
haven't.
a thing
Get the
called
stingers. Get the stingers. Hold on, Joe.
Oh, here we
didn't
go.
talk about
Here
this.
we go.
You want to do a stinger?
Sure. I don't know what's
I've
gonna
never
happen.
even done. What if it stopped his heart? So we had a kava bar come in here, or kava lounge come in earlier this week,
What?
and give me a stinger.
Wait, it looks like those gel markers.
Yeah. Well, this is a kratom stinger.
Oh, it says stinger on it.
Yeah. What do you think we're doing? What do you think we're running
What
here?
is it?
It's kratom, and this
it's
guy said,
liquid.
and he told me you shake it up, and this guy told me these stingers, and he goes, I just do like one drop on my tongue. If you do the whole thing, he's like, you'll kill people.
It's
He's like,
in
you'll
a
freak out.
It's in a plastic container like those nasal sprays. So like I'm thinking, are you supposed to
You just
huff
dump,
these?
you just right down the hatch, and then apparently you feel like you're on
yeah.
a million pain pills, and it's called the stinger.
Well,
This is like the kind of thing they'll make you rob an Amscot. You'll run in there, you'll kill everybody inside.
I do appreciate that.
But
There's
for no reason, you won't even take the money. You'll kill everybody outside, but steal a boombox. They'll be like, that's all you got?
there is an ingredients list on here too.
Let me say, read it.
It says water, vegetable glycerin, kratom,
Kratom.
alkaloid, and then citric acid, and some other acid in there.
Yeah, and it's made in Florida. Wouldn't you know? Made in Florida. Kratom stingers.
All right.
I do
Kenny,
appreciate it's plastic wrapped,
Yeah.
but it's like the heat plastic.
The quality control on these stingers is better than any medical marijuana.
It's got like a nice perforation on it. Man, I'm fascinated.
It's funny because I think a lot of our listeners like that we dabble on the fringe. You know what I mean?
Do they like it?
I think they
or-
do because I think they want to dabble on the fringe, but they're too chicken to do it. And there's the guys right now driving that are straight laced, and they're like, "Well, I want to do a kratom stinger, but I'm too much of a nerd, and my wife's a teacher." And I'm like, "Come on over. We'll give you one, buddy. Come on over. Live your life. Don't let the fact that she's a teacher ruin your life. Do a stinger now and again. Live your life."
Yeah, it's just redneck energy liquid.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's just Eastern medicine that rednecks have fall in love with, right?
Yeah.
Redneck energy medicine is a great tagline for it.
Yeah, it is redneck energy medicine. Anyway,
So, Kenny, what video did you bring?
Yeah,
to us?
so you guys were talking with EJ about, the torpedo bats and breaking records and, stuff like that. And it reminded me of the video that came out recently. So to set the scene, back in 1984, a guy named Mark Gastineau played for the Jets.
I remember
he
Mark
set
Gastineau.
the single season record of sacks, 22 sacks, which is averaging more than a sack a game, which is pretty decent.
he was a beast.
And it lasted for a long time until Michael Strahan, because they record half sacks, so he was at 21 and a half. Very final game. He was playing for the Giants. He was going against the Packers.
I love this story, by
The
the way.
controversy was that Brett Favre saw that Michael Strahan was coming and kind of just slid, fell down on his back, and Michael Strahan kind of fell down on top of him. But the NFL recorded it as a sack.
Yeah. 'Cause
And
technically, when you're not down until someone touches you.
unless you're sliding,
Yes.
you're giving yourself up. But Brett Favre wasn't running, but it got to a
he
point.
just saw a big ass Strahan come rocketing
Yeah.
towards him, and he just fell to the ground.
He crumpled to the ground. Now, what's crazy is Strahan fell on top of him. Whether it was counted as a sack or not, he started doing the thing where he's like, "Oh, I'm crying. I can't believe I broke the record." And he starts celebrating on the field. So
Because he knew he needed one more
exactly
sack to break the record.
But it'd be hilarious if it technically didn't count as a sack and he just started celebrating as if
I
it
love
was.
it when people celebrate too early. Cyclists that lose.
They did count it, and then Mark Gastineau was on the sideline because the record stood for 20 years or so, something like that.
and it's all he had, Kenny.
Well, yeah, because he played for the Jets in the 80s and they were garbage. There was nothing. So, he
also looks like Lurch from he looks like a big haunted house butler.
yeah.
Well, at the time, so back when he broke the record, he looked like your stereotypical New York mob boss.
Yes, yeah. I was about to say.
with the Jerry curl and everything.
Well, this is the last time a big for nothing Italian could play in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because in current day NFL, not too many big Italians around. That's it.
I do
So-
I
So-
miss the big Italian.
at the time, so as a fellow defensive lineman, he goes, "Hey, Strahan, congratulations, giving you a record." So he has no ill will towards Michael Strahan. He's like, "Hey, he earned this in terms of getting all those sacks, whatever." He hates Brett Favre because he thinks Brett Favre laid down.
So
and
this is
like,
real.
And yeah, like he legitimately is like, he shouldn't have the record. Brett Favre, you gave it to him by crumpling instead of taking the sack. Like, because any other quarterback, he could have spiked the ball, he could have thrown it away, whatever. But Brett Favre saw him and
Well,
like,
what if he's a crumpler?
Brett Favre is one of the toughest QBs in the
and
league.
if you've seen Brett Favre, he's the type of dude that's just
Very
going to
tough.
hurl the ball in the air, the gunslinger mentality.
Oh, he's so tough, he'll take charity money.
Oh, so
That's like, you got to be tough to take
That's tougher than Chuck Norris.
money from welfare in a impoverished state.
So that's the backstory of it. The video I have now, this was
Why
at
is that so funny to me?
this was at an autograph signing to where it's one of those where a lot of athletes will be like, "Hey, you have these 100 things to sign. Just stand here and just sign them all. Whether they sell it for charity, whatever."
Yeah, it's like a MyCon. kind
Yeah,
of
so
thing.
he's at one of those things. He's surrounded by handlers, and Mark Gastineau comes up and approaches him, and then what you see is like viral footage, even though obviously Mark's team like set it up because they know this was gonna
Yeah,
happen.
this is a setup. This is
So-
like when Tuttle attacks other radio hosts. Come on,
So we're doing like a documentary or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And this footage is literally the epitome of old man like yell. Even though Brett Favre's also an old man, it's like old man grumpy sad yells at another old man.
Yeah,
So.
and I know this came out a little while ago, but I haven't seen it. So here we go. Here's Brett Favre getting yelled at.
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
Hold on.
How you doing?
Pause real. This is also one of the most awkward things. By the way, I know this whole story. I've seen this video, and it's
He's
like,
got a little bit of that Jake the Snake to me, where you're big and you're old, so you get progressively, I feel like, cognitively dumber just because you're big.
So here's why it's even more awkward: is Brett Favre recognizes him, Mark Gastineau or whatever, and then comes up to him very delightful, like, "Hey, I thought I recognized you. Very good to see
He's
you."
never said delightful.
Because the way that it's structured, like you said, he's probably at a con just signing. Goes, "Oh, here's another fellow
Yeah, it's a
athlete
setup.
coming to visit me." Like, hey,
and then-
I mean, I hate Brett Favre, but it's a setup.
Old man
100%.
Gastineau is coming at him aggressive, and then has to do the little nicety where he shakes Brett Favre's hand while Brett Favre's
Let's get
being
through these niceties before I give you my what for.
And so it makes it more awkward because if Brett knew that it was coming aggressive, then it would be less awkward because they're like, oh, he's preparing for a fight.
Or if he knows it's aggressive, he can just be like, "Whoa!" and then they can just start punching.
He's surrounded by half a dozen other dudes, like businessmen and handlers. So
you're in a
would.
warehouse, for Christ's sake, not the place, Gastineau. Here we go.
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen this. That made me uncomfortable. Oh, you got me. You mother effer. You got me. And you know I don't get uncomfortable, and that got me.
And
that old man's voice was shaking like a nervous radio intern.
Like he looked like he was going to cry. And then if you notice, it gets to an awkward point where no one talks. So he has to say, "You hurt me," again to break the silence.
And it cracked a little bit.
Yeah,
And then the handler's like, we got to get back to
And
this.
when a really tough man a real tough man doesn't know what to do, and he's like, "You hurt me," and then the really tough man, Brett Favre, he's like, "I know." They'll do that move where they're like,
but he's confused because he's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, but everyone, and then even his handlers are like, "Do we step in? Do we say something?"
Is there any more? Also,
say-
he looks really confused with his jet black hair. He looks like a real dumb old robot.
There's not more than a clip, but this clip includes Mark Gastineau in the documentary yelling. But like, you could play it because now it's dumb old man yells at camera.
Okay, I want to say.
Anybody will tell you Brett Favre took a dive. And you know it. She knows it. He knows it. And everybody knows it.
I love his coiffed mullet. I think I might go for that.
It's so greasy.
I think I might grease the front of mine and then floof the back of mine.
He's clearly in his 60s now, and he's still like putting grease in his hair.
But also,
Oh, Mark.
I hate the fact that like the Dodo doesn't realize like Michael Strahan would have beat that record the next game.
Well, no, it
In
was
the
the final
next-
game. That's
Oh,
the thing.
yeah,
That's,
it was his- it was
that's
his
what
final
made it
game.
so.
That is what makes it a little
That's what
sneaky.
makes, and it was also.
I know what you're saying.
And it was
okay,
it was
I forgot.
late.
But because he's there.
Yeah,
right?
it was late in the game too, so there really wasn't any other opportunity.
The whole thing, like, yeah.
So that's why he's mad, because it's like Brett Favre probably knew, hey, he wants the record. I'll give it to him. You can keep playing, like they'll actually show the quote unquote sack
great.
or whatever.
But then also you got to realize as a human being, like Brett Favre is not doing this because he hates you and he wants to steal your record. He's playing a game. Michael Strahan, he knows. He's like, oh, Michael Strahan.
Yeah, they're contemporaries.
You know, and
Well,
also, and I may have done this out of instinct anyway to protect myself from getting hurt.
The blame is
Yeah.
wrong. No, the blame is
Yeah.
wrong because there are like if our business, whatever happens here, if it fails, like yes, we are factors, but we're not the only factor. There are other things
I'll
happening
be
around you.
98%
that
of
can happen.
Like,
It'll be 98% my fault.
I guess it was a little different.
2%.
you
Here,
know.
let's finish it real quick.
Tariffs.
Here, let's finish it real quick. Here we go.
I didn't know what had happened. The NFL should have stopped that and said, listen, no. That's not a sack. He took my record away from me.
Mark Gastineau's record of 22 sacks
Yeah,
in a
he
single
describes
season,
kind of what
which he
happened.
achieved.
Has this been beaten
No.
currently?
So I know
Strahan still owns
Strahan
it?
still owns it. I know that Jared Allen of the Vikings got like 21.5, like got really close. There's a couple people that have gotten really close, but 22.5 still stands, even with the added game. But yeah, I mean, there's like it's a documentary, but it's almost the clip's almost over. But you can see the actual play itself.
Crap, I exited out. I'm a dumb
No,
dumb.
Control Shift T.
I'm a dumb dumb.
No, Control Shift T. It brings it
that
back
how
up
I
if
do
you're
it?
on Chrome.
All right, hold
Yeah,
on.
teach us something new.
I'm not on Chrome.
Well, then there you
Yeah,
go.
it's my fault. Hold on, I'll get it.
But I hate when you're confronting someone and it's like there's no basis behind it because it's like he didn't do anything directly to you.
Well, you're in your
Yeah,
feelings.
you know, like,
Well,
yeah,
it's also
it's
funny
all-
because he's like the NFL should have stepped in, like, but immediately after the play happened, Strahan gets up and starts celebrating. Like, what's the NFL going to do? Like, get over the loudspeaker and be like, "Sorry, Michael, that didn't count."
I mean, I'm sure this has happened before too, right? All right, let's find the play. Here it is. All right, here we go back here.
Yeah, so you can kind of see, like, that Brett Favre, okay, football play, and then he's like, oh,
Here we go.
lay down.
Single season, which he achieved in 1984, stood until the final minutes of the 2001 season.
And if you look at it,
Wait. If the quarterback can't move,
Yeah,
and he knows he's going to get
Yeah.
devoured by a mass, that is a normal play sack.
no,
To
it
me.
is,
That's
but
a normal
didn't
all
have
day
time-
long. That's a
and
sack.
he also didn't have
Correct.
time to throw the ball
Yeah,
away. Like
that's-
the guy was in
but
Strahan was in his
the
face.
only reason that it gets criticized is if you look at Michael Strahan, like, he's not running full speed, and he really does just like use gravity just to kind of fall on him. Like, he's not lunging at him. He's just kind of like, meh.
Yeah, but I go sack
I
all
would
day long.
I would still count it as a sack as well.
Also, I like I like how mad Gastineau is, and now I want to bully him. Like now, I want to write him an email and be like, "It was no way that's a sack all
Well,
day long.
going back-
you weren't as good."
We talked about this when going back to hockey. And
Yeah,
like,
with Ovechkin.
Yeah, Ovechkin.
Can't say that guy's name. I was saying Overcheck because I
Broke,
didn't have my glasses.
broke the Wayne Gretzky's record.
scoring record.
And Gretzky was involved in he was happy,
Yeah.
seemingly happy. I mean, who knows behind the scenes, but that he broke it. So I feel like to be mad at anybody involved in someone who's breaking your record is petty. And
It
makes you
is,
look small and,
But what if the scenario was it's the final game of the NHL season and Ovechkin needs one goal, and so the entire team like parts the Red Sea and just kind of lets him old man slow skate tap it in for an open goal? Then could you get mad at that?
You can get mad, but you could also say in your own head, I still legitimately own the record. It doesn't matter what it says on like the history books, and all fans that are really fans know that last goal was BS. And the similar with all fans know that like anytime a NFL player breaks anybody from the past record, it's like, well, there's 2 more games.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's not the same if it took you 2 full games to break Barry Sanders. Right? It makes you almost appreciate the older guys more. Like,
And it
you
doesn't
appreciate
take
what Jerry Rice did
Yeah.
in a time where you could be getting your head taken off, going over the middle.
Oh, he
You know,
did.
it's like-
He did get his head taken off. It
know,
wasn't
And
like
the fact
a
that
might.
it doesn't change the fact that Strahan still got 21 and a half sacks before that one. You know what I mean? Like, he still dominated the season and got sacks at an incredible pace.
Yeah, I would contend too, though, like when you watch modern, I'm meaning now, football compared to Gastineau, even Strahan, there are plenty of times during the last 2 seasons, I'd say even 3 seasons of football, where a quarterback will get in some sort of a pickle where he has no way out and he'll just step backwards and then he'll just put his hands up like, okay, I'm done. And that's a sack.
Jay
And now-
Cutler was famous for that's going to happen. He'll just spike the ball on the ground. Like, he'll step back, realize that the play's broken, he's going to get sacked. He'll just hurl the ball straight at the ground and just be like, nah, I'm done.
I like it when they want to throw the ball into the sidelines and someone picks it off.
Oh, yeah, a big balloon marker.
Yeah. Then it's like you couldn't get it
Yeah.
out. Like, this is your only job. Your arm
Well, a
should be
couple
strong.
times.
I know this coming from me.
Wasn't that
but-
the only problem Jaden Daniels had? Was he occasionally he'd start scrambling and he'd throw a moon ball and it wouldn't make it out?
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
some
yeah.
guy would just grab it off the sideline.
Will Levis was for the Titans last year because he was trying to be the hero. So he goes, oh, I'm going to get sacked. I'm going to do like a left-handed under the leg throw to my running back. And he literally just it's like handing it to the defensive line. He just like, here you go.
And you're like, oh, I forgot this is the NFL. Like, this works in college. You're like, oh, no, everybody here is the best.
Yeah.
That must suck when you go from college to the NFL and you're like, oh, every player here is the best that I went up against at their position.
Have they done that? Like, okay, so I went, and I know you know a lot about this, and I know Tom likes these. I went through all of the, whether it's starting 5, for NBA, whether it's receiver, whether it's quarterback. What I would like to see is I would like to see them take a guy like Shadir Sanders, somebody that's going into the big game, and I want to follow them from the end of last season of college to being picked up to going in and the differences.
Yeah, that'd be a great reality show.
Yeah,
Well, now that it's a full-time job for them, because before, say what you will about the NCAA, like, oh, they're technically attending classes, they can only practice a certain amount.
It's different now.
But now once you get drafted, it's like, no, this is your job. 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, you're only doing this. You don't need to do anything else.
It'd be hard to find someone to sign up for it because the money's so big that, I don't need the distraction. Like, I have the potential to make $100 million. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I don't care about your stupid documentary or whatever the hell you're filming. Like, I cannot.
Well, the
even...
1 and 2, right? The first contract, your second biggest. And your second contract, potentially, if you do well, should be your payday.
Look at Geno Smith spend his, basically his career as a backup.
Yeah.
Got opportunity now, and signed an $80 million guaranteed contract. This was like
pretty awesome.
So a lot of the quarterbacks are looking at like Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, and like people that they look like busts, and like maybe not. Like all of a sudden now they're getting these huge contracts.
Maybe
and,
a little more time, the right system, the right receivers.
And when you're talking about like 80 million is some sort of generational wealth that will set your entire
Was
family
anybody
up
betting
for...
on the Geno 80? Probably not.
No,
right?
no.
Probably not.
Think about it, 10 years ago, Geno Smith, you'd be out in the league.
It was
out
so
of the league
dated
soon.
in Jerry Maguire, like they're doing the whole show me the money, and like the payout is something like 5 years, $10 million. And that was like the big, oh my God.
Yeah.
He showed him the money.
The $10 million that was usually nothing, but like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, what was
Like,
the Juan Soto contract with the Yankees?
Oh, it was something stupid. Well, and then
$700 million.
Vlad
was it?
Guerrero
Did it-
Jr.
Oh, the junior. Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero just got like
that was yesterday,
it was
right?
like a 14-year deal.
Yeah,
Like,
he's got $700 million or something. And his dad got like $100 million back in the day. Think about that. Like, you're as a dad baseball player, when you get signed that $100 million, you're like, well, my son will never. I mean, this is once in a million. Like your son is 7 times more. Like, that's insane.
that Guerrero
and then he
money.
turned it down.
Oh, I don't know.
There
What was
something-
that?
Like I thought there was something where he turned it down. Like he turned down an insane hundreds of millions because it wasn't enough. I don't know.
The baseball money starts to get ridiculous. I don't understand
no
it.
salary cap. That's why.
Yeah,
Just shell it out
It
there.
gets disgusting. Like last year it was Shohei, and now we've got Vladimir Guerrero.
All right,
Crazy.
let's get out of here.
Anything to plug, buddy?
No.
Did you do that stinger? Is the stinger kicking in
No,
yet?
I haven't done this. I need
They're
to.
kicking in yet?
I need to unwrap the 7 layers of plastic that they put around the stinger
Yeah,
before
well, that's
I
to
can
keep
consume.
the freshness. The half-life on these, the potency starts to degrade a little bit.
I heard if if you put that somewhere, hit you harder.
Yeah, well, that's why
that works.
That's why they have the reservoir tip on
Wait,
it.
do you drip it on or in?
In.
Oh, boy.
Always in, never on.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, and join us. Just search for @TomandDan Live.
Spencer and Jeff are here from the Orlando Science Center.
It's working. There it is.
Perfect.
It's working.
And they're here to talk about this weekend, which includes $15 Day.
Which is the gateway to, for the folks that have never been, $15 Day is the way that you can go and I trust me, you're going to love it. But this is your tester day. This is the way you go in, and this is how you become a member.
Yes. And
Try before you buy.
Yeah,
basically.
This is definitely. Oh, I didn't want to say that. It sounded a
right,
little.
well, I'm in marketing. I can say that.
Jeff and I are
Right.
switching roles. I was
Yes.
going to say this is your, the first one's free.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of what it is.
It's basically. I mean, regular prices are $29.99 for adults, so $15 day is like a half price day
There you
for
go.
you on admission. It's going to be $15 across the board for everybody.
So you can take grandma and you can take grandpa and you can take all the kids and maybe even the kids' friends because it is a lot of fun. And that way you can kind of load up, and that way, it's a little more of a value, as we say.
Yeah. And that's happening Saturday, correct?
It's happening. $15 day is happening on Sunday, April 13th. But the whole weekend we have Great Outdoors Weekend, which a lot of great things celebrating nature and the outdoors and respect for the environment. Some really cool activities, and that all wraps up in as well. We are celebrating 1 year of life this weekend.
Killer! Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Does not seem like a year ago.
I know, we were talking about this a year ago. Are we
A year
serious?
ago, we premiered the largest, most complicated exhibit that we had ever built in our entire almost 70-year history.
And we can now ask questions about that. You guys have added a lot of animals. Some animals have outgrown it and had to go off. It is a living, breathing ecosystem, of itself. Is it easier now? Still complicated? What are some of the things that you've learned from 1 year in of life?
Yeah, Dan, it's a lot like raising kids.
Yeah,
It's just a different kind of
bet.
complicated.
The monkeys. It's the monkeys.
It's the monkeys specifically.
The monkeys keep us
Crazy
on our
monkeys.
toes.
Yeah, they're always doing something.
But it truly is. It's its own ecosystem, especially in the rainforest area. I mean, it's all real trees, real plants, real fish, real birds, real bugs.
Yeah.
And we've learned a lot of things about the sloth isn't doing anything the sloth doesn't want to do. And the monkeys, you got to keep your eye on them, and they're very precocious, and they really love their new environment. And then we've got a new batch called the red-rumped agouti, which is like a South American guinea pig, and we learned all kinds of things like they can jump really high. Yeah. So
the red-rumped agouti.
Yeah. So we learned a lot about. Now,
EJ, one of our bigger listeners, he's a red-rumped agouti, and he can't jump at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was the rump.
Yeah, he literally has trouble walking.
So many variations in the species, as it were.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've a lot of the animals that we have in the life exhibit are either endangered or they're on what we call species survival plans, and so we are learning a lot about caring for them and their role in the world and what's happening to them out there and what we can help to help them repopulate the species, for people to learn more about them. So yeah, it's been an amazing year. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't believe it's been a year.
And also the Great Outdoors event this weekend as well. Explain to everybody what that is.
Great Outdoors Weekend. It's a themed weekend. We do it annually. It's coming up this weekend on the 12th and the 13th. And it's all about kind of respect for nature and wildlife and learning how to be more eco-friendly. Spencer's team has pulled together a lot of really cool stuff, building terrariums and checking out our tiny green home.
Dissecting owl
I
pellets.
want a tiny green home. I want a tiny house.
You could just come take ours. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's on wheels.
Can I
You
live
just
in
gotta
there?
figure it out.
I feel like with my lack of being able to walk now and my cane, I'm made for a tiny house.
Yeah.
Because then I become a real gnome.
I know,
Have
that's
you
what I
guys
always
ever thought
wanted.
about doing a gnome exhibit with
Yeah.
a real gnome? A pod
Yeah.
gnome?
Put 'em in the tiny house.
We'll get you. We'll get you those curly
I'll wear
shoes
the whole thing.
and
I'll wear the whole
everything.
thing, and I'll do
Yeah.
you one better. At the end of the exhibit, we'll run 6 weeks. At the end of 6 weeks, I'll climb to the top of a cherry tree. I'll kiss it and die, just like
Well,
David the Gnome.
you
Do
know,
you know
that'll get attention.
Do you know Tom Bosley in the show, David the Gnome? He and his wife, when it came time to die and move on to the
Season finale.
in the season finale,
Right,
he and
of
his
course.
wife and Swift the fox climbed their way to the old apple tree, and then they both touched it, where they turned into trees and died. And it is horribly sad. Google that. It's a horribly sad
That
video.
sounds like some real childhood trauma.
It was,
Yeah.
but Tom Bosley, who
No.
doesn't love that guy?
That's America's Dad.
Yeah, he
Wonder
did
what's
Happy
going on.
Days. He did Glad Trash
Yeah,
Bags, and
yeah.
he did David the
Yeah.
Gnome.
Yeah.
That guy's
Yeah,
a jerk.
but we've got some cool stuff planned for the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. We got nature labs and all kinds of really exciting things. It's like bringing the outside inside, you know? I mean, outside might be really nice. It might be rainy. We don't actually know, but I tell you, inside's always going to be nice, except for the rainforest where it is just a humid nightmare. I really like going into the rainforest. You're in a rainforest,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just so incredible
I
to
love
feel like
the
you're
mugginess.
outside.
I must be the one guy because that vibe, that feeling of Florida sweat,
Yep,
that like stickiness is where I thrive.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and
what-
it makes your skin look so great.
You also got cool plants in there every time you go in there, and
Yep.
they've gotten a lot bigger. and
Yeah.
there's
So
really
quickly.
cool
I mean,
monstera in there.
It's been a year.
We should
not
go
that
back.
Can I bring some plants because they like that humid environment?
We're
It's
just
like
gonna
leaving
drop them
work.
off for the weekend.
We'll just put them in the corner.
What if Tom started doing, you know how you guys do the date night for the
Yeah,
parents,
right.
where they can drop their kids off at the science center. You can drop some of your plants off for the weekend.
There you
and then
go.
you can spend some time with
Yeah.
your wife. You won't have to mess with their plants. They're in a
Absolutely.
humidity-controlled environment.
So speaking of nature and animals, Spencer can help me ruin the fun of the internet.
I don't know, because we had that whole Tom Bosley death note.
Yeah.
thing.
And the internet's,
right.
I don't know if you know this, but the
Yeah.
internet not very fun right now.
Yeah. Well, no,
I like being outside far greater than
Right,
being
right.
on the internet.
What I mean is, I'm sure everybody's seen the they brought back the dire wolf.
course.
yes.
People are mad about this. Plus, you know, I call my little West Highland Terrier my little dire wolf. I've always
so
called
they're
him that.
already back.
Yeah.
What is this all
yeah,
about?
I'm like, look at this little guy. Look how awesome he is.
So, and Spencer can help me with this because it's not exactly the case here. Because
Brendan O'Connor from the Bungalow, very mad about this.
Yeah, yeah.
A couple
Because
of science people are really
he's
upset.
he's a man of science, and he is mad.
So everybody's like, "Oh, real life direwolf back, Game of Thrones,
No,
right?
no,
Here it is,
no.
exact direwolf." And
No.
then you start reading about the science behind it, and now what they did is pretty incredible.
Right.
Which
No, I didn't
I'm not
say
taking
that. I
into-
didn't say it wasn't incredible.
But basically, they used a gray wolf egg and they fertilized it with modified DNA. I guess they had 20 different edits on 14 different genes that they found from ancient direwolf DNA.
Yep.
And so essentially they took some ancient direwolf DNA and then saw what that looked like and then modified the genes of a gray wolf and then inserted it into a gray wolf egg and then used a domestic dog to basically carry
yeah.
the actual genetically modified gray wolf egg. And then what happened, the dire wolf, I'll put that in quotes, that was born was essentially a gray wolf with some features genetically that a dire wolf would have.
Right.
And that's what we got now. But the headlines are like dire wolf, and it's not exactly.
And do
that.
they know if the size is going to be anywhere near? Because
Yeah, I think you're probably going to have to wait, right? 'Cause
Right.
what I think especially is wild is, like you're saying, there's so much impressive stuff going on here. They didn't have to lie, really. And it's not really lying. It's just like, it's kind of obfuscating truth. It's like, it's
Sensationalizing.
exaggerating, sensationalizing. It's how we communicate in all things, including science, and that creates real
Well, the
problems.
chat room's doing one notch higher. They're doing the same thing that the headlines did. They're like, "Oh, we're one step closer to Jurassic Park." It's like,
Right.
"Oh, slow down."
And the whole
Just hold
de-extinction,
on.
because they're de-extincting things. Yeah, there's a lot to it. What they've done is they've created a new species, though, and that shouldn't be understated, because let's say that humanity has created a new species of animal, and that's wild. That's a really big moment for humanity. And it is like you're saying, it's a combination of a gray wolf and a dire wolf. They have gene edits from dire wolf stuff, but it's a lot of dire wolf DNA that didn't make it into this new gray wolf. But what comes out is not a dire wolf or a gray wolf. It's something new. And so we created a brand new species here. And that's something, that we have to grapple with, the ethics of, the morals of, the science of, and especially how we communicate it.
Yeah, what if these things, like, they're cute and they're howling now? But what if, 2 more years, they're like, and then they're like, kill me. And we're like, oh, God, what do we do? We've all seen those videos, right, where the creature starts to, like, it's like, I don't know. When it gets to its second year, its body starts breaking down.
Right. And it's
we're stomping this thing with our combat boots because they're overrunning North America. We're trying to, what if they start overrunning North America?
Yeah,
it's like YYZ, or what is it? World War Z.
Right. Mad scientists are at Jurassic Park movies and all movies. They're like, God damn, they brought up they brought up the stupid Jurassic Park taking over.
And their wife always for Christmas gets them a Barbasol can in their stocking. Like, I hate it.
It's always like, oh, what if these dire wolves get out? Oh, God.
And then immediately World War Z scenario, not like an ecosystem collapse or an imbalance. It's just like immediately it's anarchy.
I also thought that dire wolves were very aggressive, and these dogs look anything but.
Well, they're puppies.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought dire wolf puppies would tear you up.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're just like shark puppy would tear you up. Baby alligator would get you.
Yeah, it's a gray wolf, and they always say like gray wolves can be domesticated around humans, especially if they're around them all the time. So it's basically going to act like a gray wolf.
Right.
Because that's what it is, with some dire wolf DNA modification.
So not that good.
Right.
So we were all sort of disappointed.
Well, it's also the why they're doing it, right? They're doing this to prevent climate or ecosystem collapses, right? Because if a specific animal is really important in an ecosystem and they go extinct through human means most of the time, they're looking to replace that animal with the exact same animal that went extinct, or a genetically modified close enough animal that can hold the same ecosystem footprint. And so the idea is to use this in the future to solve ecosystem collapse, but the dire wolf's been gone for 10,000 years. There is no ecosystem that supports a dire wolf right now. They can't put it into the real world because then you'd have World War Z scenario, or realistically a different kind of ecosystem collapse. Right. But so they can't really even do anything with these wolves. This is really more a proof of concept to show that they can make a brand new species, which is still a big deal. It's just like they should have just led with that. They had this whole video that made a lot of the science communicators angry because they just kind of unsensationalized.
Well, did they cartoon it a little? Yeah,
they cartooned it a little bit.
They cartooned it.
They need the clicks.
And morally, in a world where you're right, the click does have value. It does matter. It matters to all of us.
Especially
your
the third
Science
parties,
Center,
right?
the clicks matter to our company, to our business, to our podcasting. Clicks matter. Like if we were had to do our business based on just the ethics of not wanting any clicks, I don't even know how we do that. You know, that's weird. That's a weird thought that they have to release it and not be really. I would be very excited about this, and I'd probably lean towards maybe sensationalizing it just a touch.
I mean, and that's the thing too, is they are also just passionate about their work, right?
Yeah.
And so some of it might just be authentic. Like they're sensational. Like they really are really excited about this, and they're talking about the big future plans that they have, and they're just getting excited, but they're still years away from actually solving an ecosystem problem because they don't even have an animal yet.
It didn't seem like they were doing it on purpose to hoodwink us in some weird way.
Yeah, it's complicated for sure.
Yeah,
but it's
100%.
why I love. I mean, I love talking about science, and so this is deep into it, and so I've watched plenty of it. It's really exciting stuff. The other thing they did is they're trying to figure out how to basically give birth to mammals without a mother. And that's a almost more significant scientific breakthrough that they're working on, which is to basically use a special type of cell that you find in blood that we weren't using before. We're using some kind of stem cells or something.
I've been a part of this.
Yeah, definitely. The goal is to basically be able to provide live birth without the need of a mother. And we haven't done that yet with all of the cloning of sheeps and things and mice and the woolly mouse from recently. We have always needed a surrogate.
Are we prepared for young that have no nurture?
I mean, are we prepared to be able to create new species?
Because if
humanity?
you eliminate the mother, I feel like, and you just got dad standing around, there's very low nurture. If you got this guy nurturing you, oh my God,
it's going to be a bunch of lab coats just
rub
around.
some dirt on it. This guy, he's like, don't brush your teeth, don't rub some dirt on it.
Well, we all grew up watching Jurassic Park, and then the little cartoon explaining to us how gene modification works.
You're basing everything on Mr. DNA.
Mr. DNA.
so DNA.
And then that's how I learned about DNA. I was like, oh, that's how it works. That, by the way, stuck with me more than any science class I've ever had.
If I'd have pulled that out and played it for you, would you think it was real? Were you like, oh, it's from science class?
That's all how I learned about science. Is
when you
DNA.
said that, every person in here knew exactly what you were talking about. So well done, movie people.
But so you start going down the road of DNA modification and what they can do with humans already. And now you start looking at a world where, 100 years from now, you could have every single, cancer taken out or any possible disease or anything,
But then it becomes weird, where, parents sometimes will curse their kid by naming them something like legend. This is just my personal opinion. But then you'll have parents that want to change their kids, right? Give them one red eye, give them one blue eye. And what's the moral aspect that what should you just leave them alone?
You can do eyes, by the way, and you can do sex and
that's why I brought it up.
And there's 13 or probably way more now, different cancers you could take out, and a lot of, and then that's only going to get better.
One of the weirdest ones, because there are I think it's closer to 18 now, but one of them on there is Baba Booey teeth. Why would anybody want their child to have Baba Booey teeth?
Yeah, it's like the extra special package you gotta select.
I guess,
So Spencer, we got about 5 minutes, so let's figure out the universe here.
Yeah,
so I was
rapid fire universe.
I'm really into.
Have you been confusing your sons again with Tales of the Cosmos?
Universe TikTok. I know last time we talked about that. That's how I'm now learning all my science, and then I stumbled upon Brian Cox.
Okay,
not the NFL player, but the
wasn't there an actor? Wasn't that the guy that played
Hannibal and Manhunter and the Secession guy?
I thought he played the dad on Tommy Boy. Was Brian Cox? Wasn't that?
No, that was Brian Dennehy.
Brian Dennehy. I knew it was a Brian.
But it was a Brian.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff and I need to hang out more. I'm going to get Jeff a cold beer after this.
But he was talking about the observable universe. And this is where I think a lot of people get lost because we're like, okay, and this is what I thought too. It's like, we know, we can see to the Big Bang. We see light coming from the Big Bang, and then there's nothing beyond that. And they're like, that's really the evidence of the Big Bang is that, right? So then I was like, if we can see to the Big Bang, we see it all, But there's any vast amount of the universe we can't see.
Right.
And because we just don't have the technology or the ability to see it, or for lots of different reasons. And
laws of physics also.
Yeah. So the observable universe is all we know about. Yep. And then there's this unobservable universe.
So it's like the observable universe is endless and the unobservable is even more endless? Is that what you're trying to say? Because that's kind of scary and terrifying when you say that.
Think about, so what does it mean to be observable? It means that we've seen the light with our eyeballs or a telescope, and we can learn from it, right? So the edge of the universe, like you're saying, the cosmic microwave background, the leftover radiation from the Big Bang, that's going to be visible in every observable universe because that started it. Every light that was ever emitted after that, from every star, galaxy, alien flashlight, and all those lights, that's been traveling towards us for 14 billion years, the history of the universe. But in that same time, space itself is expanding, which is really hard to understand, but the space between us, the physical 3 dimensions, is expanding faster than light. And so it results in a world where there's plenty of light that is just never going to reach us because the space is expanding too much in between us. And so we have a bubble effectively of just stars that we can see. And like you're saying, there is just an unknown amount of stuff outside of that bubble. And the amount of stuff that exists in our observable universe will lessen over time. Stuff is going to leave the bubble over time. And eventually we're going to lose the ability to see distant galaxies because the space between galaxies will grow so vast that light won't have time to travel that far. And so there's a period of time, 100 billion years from now, where we won't know of other galaxies because of our observable universe being too small.
Something peaceful about that.
Yeah.
So essentially, and maybe we will, but right now it seems we'll never know because the universe or the galaxies are, like Spencer just said, traveling so fast and so far away from
and moving away, and they're endless.
That the light cannot reach us, so we therefore can't. We can only see what light shows us.
Right.
And then there's I've read about
What's
a bunch
the
of
sweet
theories.
spot? Have they analyzed the sweet spot? Like, are they like, hey, the best time for us to see all galaxies is
It's right now.
It's right, yeah.
It's right. Every moment after this is worse.
Right,
you know?
right. So we're already there.
Yeah, and like I've mentioned in the past, it's a huge concept that like humans might be really early in the universe. We might not have had time for alien life to develop until 10 billion years. Maybe that's when complex molecules started to exist. So we might be one of the very first and only civilizations that can observe this stuff. Because if it takes another 50 billion years after us for another alien to do this, they're not going to have galaxies.
Also, this morning I heard something real quick. Did you hear the story about them mapping a mouse's brain?
Yes, a little
yesterday,
bit. Yep.
They're like, we mapped a mouse's brain. Guess what? It's as big as endless galaxies.
And
I'm like, what? They're like, no. It's like it's endless.
Yeah, it's like the neurons are like the scale of stars.
It
basically.
just keeps going inlet, and we can't even see the end of the mouse's brain. It ties in, and I'm like,
It's
I'm sorry,
unfortunate.
what?
It's hard to think about.
Yeah, it is. It hurts.
Yeah.
Endless big, endless small. You're like, no.
Oh well.
You're like, too dumb to ever understand.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. I'm driving in my car. They're like, we mapped a mouse's brain. It's endless, and I'm like, well, I'm done for the day.
Spencer, well, the other theory about why we've never seen any other intelligent life or whatever, because statistically you should have. There's 20 billion Earth-like planets just within our galaxy. So it's like that's within our. There's 2 trillion galaxies.
Right.
We can't even understand what trillion means.
No, right. I have no idea.
But the other theory being that no civilizations ever gotten advanced enough before it died off to even contact someone else or even put out a beacon to someone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that I kind of. That I could I
we
logically understand.
We put a beacon out. We got a couple of them out there, right? No, we had a couple of little things floating around.
But we only barely got out there, right? And now,
you're right.
That's like throwing a pebble in the ocean trying to contact Japan.
Exactly, right.
It's like
You know what? He has to belittle every morning I throw a pebble in this lake out here, and I'm like, please Japan. And this guy's always going to rub it in my face.
Well, I'm just saying, how the vastness of it, we can't even comprehend.
I know.
So it's like it doesn't even we'll put out a satellite.
That's why I
put
ask
out
you
radio
why you
waves.
think about it all the time.
Yeah, right. Why are we talking
I'm
about
like,
it?
aren't you torturing yourself?
Yeah, no, but I don't like that. I can't comprehend. Like, I'm mad. You tell me I can't comprehend it, I'll comprehend it.
Oh yeah.
Then I start to think real hard. I'm like, they're right.
Yeah, no, right.
Hey, but I do understand, no intelligent life has ever gotten to the point where it could ever travel or even contact anybody else, because statistically even the fact that we got here is pretty amazing. All the stuff, the stars, everything lined up right.
People are awesome.
I mean, the asteroids killed the dinosaurs. If that didn't happen, we'd never been, so
Truly.
many little things. And then yes, the numbers say other life should exist, but they all probably are died out already, or somewhere along the span of
and
our
there should
life.
be other local podcasts that do what we do, and they're not out there. I haven't seen one.
There could
alien
be
fish.
Yeah.
There could be a trillion other human-like planets.
Don't make
people,
that hand gesture, please. Very popular this year. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Well, you're on the spectrum. You start just pointing.
I know what you mean. Just say the cosmos. I know.
Anyway.
I would know to look up.
$15 day. This is why, because if you even have the chance of comprehending it, you have to go to the Science Center because
Absolutely. And just for $15.
yeah.
You could understand the universe.
And you could talk to Spencer. He's there all the time.
For just $15.
Ask him about the universe.
It's
That's
funny
what I
because
do.
I would have never guessed our listeners love you guys. They love talking about science. They love the Science Center. The chat room lights up with people that just love hearing you explain things they don't understand. I think it inspires our listeners sometimes. I do it sometimes where they'll go and they'll look up something like, hey, I want to learn a little bit more about this. So we just appreciate you guys. Good luck on $15 day.
We appreciate you guys too, and I think this conversation is kind of why the Science Center is here.
Yeah.
You need a place where you can feel comfortable asking questions, and people are going to talk about it with you, and they're going to talk about it in a way that you can understand it and relate to it.
Yeah.
No one's going to talk down to you.
Nope.
And
Well, Tom will talk
yeah.
down to you, but
Well,
he means well.
we're working on that.
A little bit.
We're working on that.
It's easier to talk down.
Have you tried talking up?
That's true. And then the sound bounces off the wall. But yeah, come out on Sunday, April 13th for $15 day. Spencer's team's got a lot of awesome stuff set up. We also have a guest speaker, an author and environmentalist named Jessica Jane Robinson's going to be there. She did a whole comic book about an eco superhero. She's going to be there on Sunday at 10:30 and 11:30 and 2 o'clock doing some really cool stuff. Lots of great things with Great Outdoors Weekend. Going to celebrate a year of the Life exhibit.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
man.
you can grab that all for just $15 a person.
There you go.
Awesome. OSC.org. Thank you guys for coming by.
Thank
Appreciate y'all.
And
Thank you.
we will be right back. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Let's do some voicemail emails.
Yeah, man. The voicemails, if you'd like to leave us one, we have a couple of ways to do that. We have an app. So you can download our free app, use a little button called Mediocre Messages within the app, hold it down, leave us a voicemail message, or you can just call 1-844-TOMNDAN. It's a little vanity number you can call, and you can leave us a voicemail message like this one right here. Hold on, I got to make one little change. Hold on here. Like this one right here. Let's try this one.
What's up, guys? Ben with a Y here. Hey, I was listening to the OG show where you were talking about horrible holiday parties, and it reminded me, not of a holiday party, but one of the companies I worked for, they would do Employee Appreciation Week, right? So it was supposed to be a week long worth of celebrating. I was a manager, so I had about 100 direct reports, but there was like $0. They gave me no money to do anything for these people, but the company expected for me to do something every single day of the week for every one of my employees. So 100 employees, I had to come up with something with no budget. So I had to come out of my own pocket. Like, so I did the typical pizza party one day, right? Pizza for 100 people. That wasn't very cheap, you know. And then
Dude, pizza for 100. This is my favorite voicemail that in a while.
Even cheap pizzas, that's like a
I
lot.
bought expensive pizza for like 30 people, and it was very expensive. For pizza for 100 people, even at its cheapest, is going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
Very.
I mean, the Papa John's for 100 people. What is that? That's got to be like 20 pizzas. So 20 pizzas, the average pizza is $20. You know,
for 100 people,
$400. You know.
Yeah, it's got to be at least something like that. Let's say ChatGPT is running the numbers. Okay, large Papa John pizza serves 13. Yeah, $419.
So,
You're good at that.
That's ridiculous that a company is going to be like, it's a company. By the way, we are just doing the exact same thing. Appreciation Week. When you said I laughed at that,
hold on. He continues.
I was like, that's all the other cheap POS.
Get your pizza party. Get the hell out of here. Here,
I thought Appreciation Week was my idea.
Then they would have these meetings with all these like fancy like director level or above people just like, oh, well, there's so many different things you could do for no money. Like, you could just write someone a note, and you write them a note, and they'll appreciate it.
That's exactly what we're doing.
It's a handwritten note for you. I'm like, these motherfuckers don't care about notes. They want money. They want some sort of, like, something tangible, even if it's something with, like, company swag, whatever it may be. But a note, like, they don't give two shits about a note. It used to frustrate me to no end that you in a whole week, like, why not one day? Like, one day maybe I could buy lunch for everybody and then, you know, everybody just eat a lunch.
The week sounds better.
Yeah, it does sound better.
Come on, Ben.
A week worth of shit. It was the craziest thing ever. Anyway, hey, love you guys. Talk to you later.
Love
Bye.
you too, buddy. Sorry you had to do that. You're a good man for doing that.
It's Appreciation Week. It sounds better than Appreciation Day. Ben doesn't know.
Well,
anything.
not everybody can appreciate in the day, right? When you do, like, we've done this before where we're like, we'll do a T-shirt pre-sale and we'll open it for one day. And then we're like, well, not everybody can be available for that one day. So we'll make it a week. Well, let's make it a month. We'll make it a year.
Giant corporations are funny. Because they will come up with an idea and then tell the employees that don't care about the company, like they just work there, and they're like, hey, you know, like this is a good idea for the company, You do it. It's just like, oh, be at work.
You know,
I
be
don't
awesome.
work here.
Like companies
You
would be
do
like,
it.
You know, like they would
You
fire.
own it.
They would fire people, right? And then they'd call them. They'd fire like hundreds of people. Then they'd have a meeting and fill all of us that weren't fired in the meeting, and they'd be like, you know what would be great? If you guys would start picking up the slack for all those people we just hired.
Yeah.
Here's a beach towel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. So like, no, you pick up the slack. This is
or at
my-
least, or pay us very handsomely to do the extra stuff that you cut that's impossible to do.
You know, I do tell people because I see, I've seen a lot of this where, and I used to do this, where you work for a big company and they keep asking you to do more and more.
Yeah.
And then all you do, is bitch about it. And there's a natural human psychology. You're going to complain about it, right? You complain about it to your family, your wife, your significant other. You complain
Mostly
about your
Andrea,
friends.
yeah.
It's like this, and you're just like, I'm just getting it off because you complain. You're like, well, why don't you tell them no? You're like, nah. I just want to complain to you because it's offloading.
Well, doing something though too, like right, like making a choice of like, well, this is so bad that I need to leave. That's a very, very permanent, and it's not just blowing off steam.
Yeah, and you don't have to quit. You could just tell them like, hey, no, I don't want to do this. Now
that's a hard thing to do.
It's hard
Yeah.
because you've been trained psychologically to always say yes and be accommodating because that's how you get a further in the company, right? That's how the company gives you raises because you're constantly they're dangling the carrot of a raise
100%.
or promotion above you. So you're like, if I go above and beyond, this will happen.
You want to be a self-starter and you want to be a team player. And when they ask you to do things, everybody, I think when you start a job, you're like, oh, like take the trash out. Like, I'll do it, sir. Everybody likes to think of yourself as having a good attitude.
And that will, advance your career.
I would say
do
it can.
better.
I would say it can.
It can. You're right.
I wouldn't say it will.
But you have a better chance than not saying no to things. Like the person that says yes has a better chance than the person that's saying no. But the problem is that a person is doing this, not a logical computer. So the person, usually your manager, is telling you like, "Hey, I need you to do this." And that because that person got used to passing the buck to you,
right?
And that person will continue to do that over and over and over,
right? Until you
and use you,
yeah.
And like, oh,
Andrea,
this person will do it.
My wife is one of those people where she's a good employee, and I've seen multiple people do that to her.
And I think that's just natural human psychology, where it's like, oh, this person's reliable, I'm going to keep using them, and that person sometimes will get taken advantage of until. Usually the sad part is that person will just leave instead of telling them like, I'm not going to do this anymore unless you compensate me or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Because the writing on the wall is if you bring it to their attention, then you lose your status of being a team player and there's nothing that's going to be done.
Yeah.
So if all you've done is poisoned your fish tank, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And now you have a negative connotation, and they're not going to pay you more because guess what? They never intended to. They were never going to. It was not ever going to happen.
And what's also super hard that no one ever talks about is the manager could think the task they're giving you is super easy, and therefore nothing, and you shouldn't complain about it. And the person that's given the task could think the opposite of that. And that's just subjective.
Right.
And so how are you going to...
Well, like you and I. Some of our tasks are super easy for me and super hard for you and vice versa.
Yeah.
There are business tasks that you do at your desk when you're figuring out something with Tracy that I want no part of because that is not how my brain works. And there's stuff in here that I know you want no part of because there's nothing there that interests you, right? It's like knowing your strengths. You can't be good at everything.
You're giving Ben this task. If I'm Ben's manager, I'm like, just whatever. Write him some notes. Do something. Bring in some bagels one day. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's easy. And then Ben's freaking out, be like, no. I want to actually do a good job to show them appreciation.
Even
they
at
don't
$2
care about
a
notes.
bagel, 200 bagels is $200. That's a lot of money.
So now you have different opinions on how hard this task is, and that is going to cause a problem because now you're like, well, I did all this work for you, and you're like, dude, this is easy. You know what I'm saying? So that's hard to quantify and creates divides and people. Like,
I did that
mad at their
sometimes
jobs.
when radio, where I would people would lean on me to get things done or mistakes would happen. I'm not complaining. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, oh, get this done. But I'm good at getting things done in a pinch, like rapidly. Like if there's a problem, I can probably get in there and fix it pretty quickly. I'll give myself a compliment. That's weird for me to say that. But then you're right. Then people get used to it. And then they lean on it like it's an all-time thing. And they don't understand that it's not an all-time thing. You know, like you don't want to be doing that all the time. You don't want to be rushing to fix mistakes all the time. That means there's a problem. You know, you're getting used to my competence. And you're taking advantage of it. You know?
And then also you need to continually remind yourself what your market value is. And that's a problem too that no one does because it takes work. Is like, all right, you think you're being undervalued, not paid enough, or you do too much for your company. All right. Well, find out your own market value. If you don't, then you could be totally off on what you think you should earn. Go out there and you could do this. Anybody can find out in your position what else other companies are willing to pay. Apply for other jobs.
Well, my wife does this all the time.
Yes, I know. I've watched her do it and then work her way up.
Yeah, I did not do this when I worked at Real Radio.
Me neither.
Things were getting tumultuous. I didn't shop.
Yeah.
I didn't think there were any options.
So you're like, this company's underpaying me for what I do. Are they? Find out because then go out to other companies and be like, if another company's willing to pay you way more, then there's your value, right? And then you tell your own company like, hey, my market value is this. You got to pay me or I'm going to this other company. And then you'll know then because they'll be like, okay, yes or no. It's easy. And then so it's like, and then if you go out there and there's no other job that's willing to pay you
then
this
you
much,
also get your answer.
Then it's like, oh, okay, they are paying me pretty much market value at this point because there's no other job out there that's willing to pay me. So it's like, but it's easier to complain to your wife or your husband.
100%.
than make their lives miserable.
Okay, you brought up something on, was it Friday show? You brought up tablets? And then they screens, and then they started talking about it on the BDM page, and then I started getting tons of emails. I got tons of emails about it. I got a voicemail. Here's a voicemail. I think this is BDM Neil. It's a quickie.
Yo, BDM Neil here. Listening to the BDM show, and my wife and I actually have banned tablets for the week. Now, they still watch TV in the evening times and stuff like that, but tablets only on the weekends. Maybe you guys want to try that?
You banned them during the
Love y'all.
week.
Peace.
What are you, Elon Hitler? You banned the tablets during the week.
You're not giving me enough information. How old are your kids? Because that's a problem too. Because I mentioned, Tommy's friends and Max, they're 9 and 10, 4th and 5th grade. They all are interacting together, playing Fortnite and Roblox online with each other. So that's an activity, just like we used to ride bikes when we were kids all together. That's what this generation.
Well, online gaming is a thing. It is a thing.
And so Tommy said, comes to us during the week and hey, all my friends are meeting after dinner to play Fortnite together. Can I play with them? So it's hard for me to say no.
I don't see
because
anything wrong with that. It's just if I
don't want them to interact with her, and that's a favorite thing. And so but the more time they're on it, and they do it every day. It's like, are we making his brain addicted to this?
Can you see anything? That's the question I would say. I actively see when Maisie will do an all day on the screens, and she doesn't do it very often because she doesn't have the luxury of doing it. I mean, she probably would if she could, right? But she's so into dance that supersedes the screen time. But there are some Saturdays or Sundays, if she's off, that she'll go all in on it. And I do see her brain gets, she starts being kind of a dick. To me. And I see it. I'm like, and I call it out. I'm like, that's because you got your head buried in the screen. I say it like an old man. I'm like, you got the screenies, but if you don't see it, I don't necessarily think it has to be a problem for everybody, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't think every kid is going to be like into gaming, and then that kid, just because they're into gaming and they spend a lot of time on screens, I don't think that means that
It dictates any sort of
nothing. I think it means nothing. It just means they're into gaming.
Yeah,
I literally don't put and I think even you and I have a disconnect here, because I think you think about it a lot and I don't, because I'm just like, I don't think it's a big deal. And maybe I'm way wrong, because I'm like way hands off. I'm like, they're fine. They're great kids. They know what they're doing.
Well, my Crystal she wakes up panicked every day.
Yeah.
About
I bet a lot of parents are just like her,
thinking that in the future they're gonna like Max and Tommy's brains, they've essentially developed to this like screen addiction, or like always looking towards some sort of screen or whatever. And if I would have just banned them all, then they wouldn't have had this. Like, she's contributing to some sort of future diagnosis that hasn't even,
no, I'm putting myself in Crystal's shoes as a sensitive person. I can absolutely see that. Yes.
Yeah. But then it's like, okay, you look back at all our upbringings and the reality of them, and you're like, did some sort of thing that we did contribute to something, how our brain works now? And it's like, I can't really see it, like.
Yeah, like Riki was just like me in the Twitch chat room. He said, she said, I never had any limits on video games as a kid unless I was grounded. That was me. I had a Sega Genesis, and it was, if you were done with your homework, and if you'd eaten dinner and if my dad asked me, like, hey, take the trash out or mow the back grass or something, right? Yeah. But if I did all of that, I could play my Sega Genesis until my bedtime. There was no, like, it wasn't like, and they weren't even like, I think the Altered Beast is rotting his tiny little person brain. They were just like happy that I had something that I was into. But I do see your fear too.
But those
screens are way different.
But those games were so less addictive and designed to be less. You know what I'm saying?
They were real games. Like, they were like the game had an end. Yeah.
Both my sons, they would be done with Super Mario Brothers after 25 minutes of playing it. Once they hit a level, like, you know what I'm saying? And so, but now it's just endless, jackpots and slot machine graphics and things that you can buy, and never-ending worlds. There's no, quest.
Yeah.
It's just open world.
No, I do know what you mean.
And then it's like continued, like never-ending. So it's like, it is the difference between watching a movie in the past and scrolling TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because TikTok's never-ending small micro burst of, and that's like,
there's no story, there's less value. Yeah.
Does that micro burst of never-ending endorphins that your brain is getting, like,
Isn't that how they reprogram or drive people crazy in, like, crazy movies? Like in Clockwork Orange, they hold their eyes open and they just feed them tiny TikTok videos until they go out and rape people, right? Yeah. Maybe, oh my God.
It's always that bunny, the time lapse of the bunny disintegrating.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like, all right. That's not even that weird.
A nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah, all the images I remember in those movies, I was like, none of these are that bad.
There were some,
like, I don't think they'd screw me up.
Well, there were a couple bad ones, like the naked Vietnamese woman running down the street as she's about to get murdered. That one's bad.
Oh, yeah.
These are these are time photographs, right? Like, these are heralded historical photographs. Yeah. I don't think there's a way of knowing. Until they go crazy.
Until the future. Yeah. I know. And most people are like...
But I really do think it's case by case. And I may be way wrong, and maybe I'm super reckless. But I look at your sons, and I'm like, they're fine.
Yeah. They're fine. Can they be better?
Everybody can be better. That's a different
and then
question.
So it's like, if I can make them better, that's what I want to do, even if it's painful to go through the process.
What would happen if you said no screen, like we brought the hammer down?
They would just ask why, and then I would say, we've asked the doctor too. The pediatrician's like, hour a day, whatever, who cares? That's fine. That's like most parents let their kids from beginning to end and whatever all day long. That's right. So the pediatrician, like a doctor, said hour, whatever, even a couple hours, whatever. No big deal. She's like, I've seen way worse. So then I'm like, okay, You know, so
Yeah.
maybe it isn't that bad, but
Sounds like
I still,
exactly like alcohol when I go to my doctor and they're like, how much do you drink? I'm like, 4 a day. And they're like, I've seen way worse. You're totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then she's, I'm like, totally fine. But then I ask her, I'm like, but could I be better? And then she says, well, that's a different question. We could always be better, Dan. Right?
Yeah. And then
Getting kids to have that, like, because you have that now, I feel like you've been, like, in the last couple of years, I feel like you have this thing where you're like, I'm going to be better, like, in all aspects of my life. And that's a great thing. That's super empowering and cool to have. But, man, getting a kid to think that is hard.
Yeah, I didn't think that as a kid.
Hell
I didn't
no.
care about anything.
I was a punk.
I didn't even try to better my life until 40. You know, like I didn't care, you know, or whatever. Like I guess when I had kids, you know, I started to
got a little more real, maybe.
But it was mainly just because I was like, I just do it little by little, and then now I can't, you know, stop thinking like how can I get better at whatever I'm doing, you know, or be a better person.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't I do that instead of not do that? And that's, you know.
Yeah, well, it's good, though.
But I don't
like-
know what flipped or whatever, it's just age, you know.
Well, maybe
so,
it got more real. Maybe you feel like you have more to lose now. So you gotta hold on to it more. And
Yeah.
being healthier and being better makes the time that you have left seemingly longer.
I see the end. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
especially
see
with
it.
my hip.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to
Yeah.
get going.
One good fall and I'm out of here. So, yeah. Anyway, we got to get out of here.
All right.
Speaking of that.
We will be right back.